Hello, can you hear me now? Welcome back to the Hotel Orloff. I just jumped out of the shower and think we're late for a broadcast. Am I able to be heard out there in television land? Well, how are you guys doing out there in television land? We're counting down to the Trump rally, which we were doing at this time last weekend, and oh, there's one person watching. Can you hear me? One person watching. So anyway, um, how about that? Well, it's Saturday once again, and we're doing a GoFundMe to for various reasons that are important. But trust me, it will help you, the viewer, and benefit the Hotel Orloff and uh, my wife and the pets and everything. If you contribute a little bit to this GoFundMe, well, the link is going across the bottom into the. So this is going to be kind of a telethon today to raise a few dollars because we need a few dollars here and to keep the Gratu Orloff color cameras going. You know, the cameras here at the Gratu Orloff Inspirational Network, each camera costs $25,000, and we've got several cameras positioned in here now. Uh, it's very expensive to run a network. We've got all these satellites that we have to pay Elon Musk for that broadcast and send the signal back down to you. And so make sure that you contribute to by sending money to this GoFundMe that's going across. So mainly what I'm doing today is waiting for Trump, trying to raise a little bit of money, or if you can't contribute any money, well, then just say a few prayers to help out things that are going on here that don't worry, there's nothing life threatening, but we need to raise a little bit of money. Um, my wife is not doing too well. She's in a lot of pain, and there's, uh, just things that we can do. I'll talk like Joe Biden. Well, anyway. So let's have some fun looking at comic books and ignore the apocalypse that's about to happen. Um, I think that cyber attack yesterday was just a dry run. I mean, pretty soon we won't have any power, and that's why I record all of these things that are for the future. After we have a Dark Ages, and Mad Max kind of Road Warrior, Command D, Planet of the Apes kind of world for the next 1,000 years. Then maybe someone will find these discs that I recorded of what's going on in 2024, and then they'll be able to piece together what really happened. So, I got a bunch of stuff I've got to organize. So, let's do that. I've got this plastic bin from Dollar General. I'm putting newspapers into it. See there? How about that? Um, Newspapers like with the reviews of Star Wars, from May of 1977 that I saved as a 12-year-old, things like that. But I'll show you, ladies and gentlemen. Man, what is that bright light behind my head? Oh, it's the lights. Let me just, I was thinking, is there? Um, this newspaper was saved by my mom, and it's the society page from the San Antonio Evening News. Man, and it's from Friday, October 29th, 1943. So yeah, this maybe. Mom must be on this somewhere. Why the Allies this time must dictate the peace in Berlin. Oh, this war news. Um, my let me look at this. All these guys dancing. This is I my suspicion is that my mother is in this crowd here, and that's why this was saved. Or my uncle Guy, who is in here somewhere, and it's and I don't know. This would be before she met my father, so this is not. You know, it's probably going to be her dancing with someone else. That's not so. Anyway, so I'm putting that in here for preservation. What do we have here? Why, it's the Dallas Times Herald from July 15th, 1979. I guess it's when Dracula came out. So says Frank Langella above stars in the latest Dracula. Other famous film creatures included Vincent Price in The Ghoulish Dr. Phibes left, Frankenstein monster played by Boris Karloff right, and the green-skinned beast of Saucerman below left. Okay, so I guess they're showing. Maybe is this enough light for you guys? They're showing the new Dracula, and then they're comparing it to older horror films. Man, do you remember? You've got to be older to remember this. When movies came out and they got a full page ad. Look at this, a full page ad for the Amityville Horror. Newspapers aren't this wide anymore. That's one thing you notice immediately. Oh man, what did I say? This is 19 July 15th, 1979. I was 14. It says Alien is a corker, a walloper, a rouser, a screecher, and a ton of fun. Gene Shalit, NBC TV. Do you remember Gene Shalit? He looked basically like a clown. Um, Wyatt's Cafeterias, I remember that. Where can you get a T-bone at midnight? Rosenzweig's Cafe and Patio Bar. I don't know. Greenville at Park Lane. Okay. Oh, learn the late newest disco hustle or country western. Large ceramic type animal sale. My mother had a ceramic zebra just like that. It's kind of embarrassing. Look at this. Blondie's going to be performing at the McFarland Auditorium. Uh, okay. And then look, what do we have down here? Devo's going to be coming. Battle of Texas New Wave Bands. Oh, that's when Battlestar Galactica played in theaters. The original theatrical version of the spectacular television film. Ridiculous. It was a TV film originally. They just 2 years in the making, presented at a cost of 14 million. That's twice what Star Wars cost. Star Wars cost 7 million, as I recall. Charlton says, "Hey, Gratu, making lunch as I'm watching this. Hope Cleo's feeling better. Thoughts and prayers, Tebow. Thank you." Uh, she feels better, and then it's three different things going on. She's got a double hernia that they can't operate on yet. and she's got other issues that are causing her a lot of pain, and uh, compounded with she did a liver cleanse, and it went bad. It kicked. I don't know. It should. I don't know. If I could just get a bathtub installed, that would be ideal. But and there's other things going on, financial pressures that are causing her to be in a bad, state of mind. But so Battlestar Galactica played in theaters after it had already been shown on television, and they made a big deal that it was in Sense-Around, which I don't think anyone cared about. But this isn't even presenting that it's in Sense-Around, and it's July of '79. It seems like maybe this is the second run, because it seems like the Battlestar Galactica theatrical movie came out right not long after the TV after it showed on TV. And that was '78. I don't remember. Let's see what's going on over here, man. Um, the drive-in. Um, the town that dreaded sundown. That was about Texarkana. That was a true story, supposedly. Boy, they had a lot of crummy movies then. Well, there's the Warriors playing with Up in Smoke. Um, you could see Grease and Saturday Night Fever together. The China Syndrome. Oh, yeah, I remember that propaganda. Yeah, Love at First Bite. Yeah, there was all these terrible Dracula movies that came out at the same time. I don't know if I'd call Frank Langella's Dracula terrible. I don't even remember enough about it to have an opinion on it. I think I saw it. I think I did see it, yeah, but I don't remember anything about it. It was so unmemorable. And Love at First Bite. Um, I remember the disco theme song more than I remember the movie. I don't even know if I ever watched that movie. But there were three that came out at the same time. Was it? Am I thinking of the remake of Nosferatu? I don't know. I don't know, man. So, oh, let's turn the page. It's still see. We forget that about this because today no one looks at the newspaper to find out what movies are playing. But back then, this is how we found out. There was Prophecy, which was about a mutated bear. I always loved this poster. Moonraker was still playing. Oh, it's a bad review. This Dracula is no spooker. There's Patrick, which is a movie I don't think I ever saw. There's Love at First Bite, Dracula, Just You and Me, Kid, George Burns and Brooke Shields. Oh God, I never watched that. The Apple Dumpling Gang Rides Again, Escape from Alcatraz. The Warriors with Up in Smoke, Breaking Away. This is a studio preview of this movie that was everybody was talking about. This movie is going to win every Academy Award, and it's about these bicycle riding kids. And they used to have these studio previews, and you'd go see it, and you'd fill out a card afterwards, and they get your opinion of it. And then if everyone hated it, they in different cities they would go back and maybe tweak it, re-edit it, or whatever. But it was just a way to test what audiences thought of it. And I saw the studio preview of Raiders of the Lost Ark and Gremlins. I remember before those movies came out. There's the villain, which is and this director Hal Needham was a friend of Burt Reynolds. He was a stunt man, and he directed Smokey and the Bandit. And then everyone thought that he was just a great director, and then they allowed him to direct the villain and a movie called Megaforce, I think, that was a disaster. This movie was supposed to be a live action Roadrunner cartoon, and Arnold Schwarzenegger played the Roadrunner, and Kirk Douglas played Wile E. Coyote, basically. And Anne Margaret was in it, and that she was very great in that. I remember enjoying this movie because it was, but even though I knew that this director was kind of an idiot, it's fun to look at. Oh, it's fun to look at these old newspapers. An early Bruce Lee film found in the Chinese archives, the real Bruce Lee. So this is some trick movie where they have a little bit of footage of the real Bruce Lee who had died, man, what, 4 years before, and they're still trying to milk, milk him because he became a big star right when he died. It was just like kind of like James Dean. All right. Oh my gosh, Connie Stevens was in concert at the Summer Shine Dallas Summer Musicals. Oh, look at this. Tony Down and Jerry Mathers, the stars of Leave It to Beaver and a sensational new comedy, So Long Stanley. This is a live theater here on this page. So, so this is a little slice of 1979 that I will now put into this plastic box. I've got this box about a little less than half full. Um, okay. What is this stuff? Um, this is a medical file for my older brother. Why? Why is this in my possession? I guess it was just part of my mom's stuff. What is this about? 1970, man. Shit. 1970. So this was at the Army Hospital in Germany. Let's see what's going on. I think can't read this doctor's handwriting. Seems like it's about his toe or something. Now, normal people would throw that away, but I'm not going to throw something like that away. It's oh, look at this. The Cisco Kid, Beauty and the Bandit. Uh, well, I was joking the other day about how people in movies would used to have, they would change their names if they were hard to pronounce. But look at this guy, Martin Garalaga. That doesn't roll off the tongue that well. Um, we're probably going to have a visit from Kevin Johnson, the owner of Gotham City Comics, here before too long. I don't know when his store opens in Mesa, Arizona, is 2 hours behind where I'm at. So it's, yeah. When he comes on, he's already got, comic store owners get the new comics in um, sometimes a week before they go on sale. And although the comic store back in Texas that I went to, that guy would go and pick them up like at 7 in the morning on Wednesday morning, and then or he'd get them on Tuesday sometimes. He'd get them just at maybe he was trying to cheap out or something, but Kevin gets them early, so he's got the very first of the new EC Comics line. I had to explain this to my wife. She doesn't know about EC Comics. I mean, she's heard of Tales from the Crypt. Everyone's heard of that. But I had to explain, well, this comic line went down in 19. Oh, someone's coming in. It's probably him. Comic line went down in 1955, and someone's trying to revive it now. They bought the name Entertaining Comics, and they bought the little symbol, but they didn't buy the names of the comics. So there's no Tales from the Crypt or Vault of Horror or Weird Science. They have to make up their own names, and I think they made up a horror title, Epitaphs from the Abyss, which is hard to pronounce. It makes you feel like you're Sylvester the Cat when you say Epitaphs from the Abyss. Well, let's see who's visiting here. Why, it is Kevin from Gotham City. Hey there. Are you open already? You can't hear us.
I can hear you. I can hear you.
Oh, okay, yeah, I can hear you.
No, I'm still at home. It's only 9:30.
Oh, okay. Oh, okay. Man, I can't tell the difference between your shop and your house. It's what a great house, man. Did you bring Epitaphs from the Abyss home to read it? How did it turn out to be?
I just read it just now.
So how is it?
It's what you would expect in modern day
Were
comic
there
book stories.
Okay, well, I would expect shit. So you're
Uh,
telling me it's shit?
yeah.
Just okay, well, there it is. There, the first review of the new EC Comics Epitaphs from the Abyss. It's good and bad news. It's good news because you can save some money. It's bad news because you kind of want EC Comics to come back and be good. Okay, so the first thing you notice, there aren't three horror hosts on the little circles with three heads on the left side. Uh, but I think they have horror hosts in the because there's only one horror comic and one science fiction comic is how they're starting it. Epitaphs from the Abyss is their horror comic, like Tales from the Crypt or Vault of Horror, Haunt of Fear, and their uh, their science fiction comic is called Cruel Universe, which sounds little easy. Okay, happy events will take place in your home, except for this book. Okay, so the cover is acceptable. Okay, you open it and it looks like a homemade comic book with a black cover. I guess that's acceptable. It's just,
Can you guess?
man.
This is the last story right here. This is they're showing you the last story.
Okay.
Let's see if you can guess what's wrong with these people.
Uh, that probably turns out they're Republicans, right?
No,
That
they
does
were.
not look like an EC comic book. What the heck? That's
It's all
horrible.
different. There's four stories and they're all different artists.
Okay. Well,
Killer Spec. This is a writer. Um, oh, let's look at this guy. This is the coolest part about this book right here.
okay. So he's the new horror host. He's
Yeah,
like a
he's the
grave
grave
digger.
digger.
Okay.
This looks cool.
Okay, that's moderately acceptable. Looks like okay.
Okay.
That page is. I mean, it's not. Yeah. All right. And let's see. The text is it done, Dustin Weaver, and it looks like the text does look like that style of lettering that EC used. Okay,
Yeah.
and they still use it here. Latte. Ugh. Okay. Well, a lot of panels without words. EC Comics was very wordy.
So I'll tell you what this writer is having writer's block. He lives with this guy that's not a writer. He hands him a script to read, and the script is better than anything else this guy's written. So he ends up killing the guy, taking the script,
Okay.
and then you could probably figure out what happens from there.
What happens from
Well, he buries the guy, and then the guy comes back to life,
Oh, okay.
kills the writer, and mails the guy he was going to send the script to. Second story. This is terrible. It's Senator. It's
Okay.
about a politician with her ideas on abortion, and
Oh.
her I and it flipped her what she decides on flip. And the one girl, this journalist, is like, why did her thing flip? So she goes and asks her, and shows her footage of her what she was saying on the news, how her ideas had flipped. So she tries to go investigate more, gets in a taxi, hunts her down, meets this guy in the elevator. He says, "Here, I'll show you." Takes her down. Shows you this is how we take the politician and we pluck the piece of the brain out.
Okay.
So that was terrible. And then the third story is this guy. He's faced with it. He has to either kill himself or kill one of his family members. Otherwise, the rifle guys are going to kill everybody. So he has to make a decision in like 4 minutes. And at the end of the story, you see that it's all on the internet, and these guys are gambling on who he's going to kill. And this
Oh.
guy wins. This guy wins. He guessed right, so he won a lot of he won a lot of money. And then these guys are going to his house next to take him and his family.
Okay.
And here's the last story. These guys are look. He's got a you can see he's got a chainsaw. He's in like a hillbilly house, and you find out that where does it say it? Oh, they're Vasquez.
Oh.
These guys are Vaxxers, so it turns them into it kills them and then turns them into these monsters.
So they really went there, huh?
This was dumb, really
So,
dumb. That was like the dumbest one.
so, so these people uh, took it. The deformed people took it. Is that what they're saying?
Yeah,
Okay.
and then she gave it to them or whatever they gave it to them. So now they're
Uh.
gonna die. Now they're
Okay.
gonna die and come back as these monsters.
So,
Oh, what
what
happens
kind
when
of
we
political
die?
statement are they trying to? Oh.
You go to heaven. Just kidding, we eat you.
Oh my gosh. Whoa. And this is congratulating a bunch of people that what is this? Uh oh, they're congratulating the people that actually made good comic books 70 years ago.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, hopefully they're not adding their names to the list because this is not an EC comic book. I mean, it has an EC logo. It has the EC kind of typeset font and the word balloons, but they're
This is cool. This part and the first page are the best parts about the book.
yeah, but yeah, you could get that by buying. It's
You could get these
yeah.
trash stories in other books. I've already read all those stories.
Yeah, I mean DC back in the early '70s with Joe Orlando were really doing a pretty good job of recreating kind of the feel with House of Secrets and House of Mystery and Witching Hour. The there was a comic in the '80s called Twisted Tales that did it pretty well. But ooh, this is a real strikeout. This is as bad as, well, maybe not quite as bad as the revival of Gold Key, because Gold Key still has a chance with that one about the ghost dog. Um, Monster Kid, EC Fuzzbox says Ohio. I guess that's a Japanese word. Ohio Gratu. I think the Cruel Universe has some cool covers, but doubtful it will have Feldstein level cerebral sci-fi yarns. Yeah, this. Oh, is this the new EC Comics? His Library 88. Yeah, the Gravedigger looks like an ersatz Uncle Creepy. Library 88 says I will have to go to. I didn't click on it. Library Idiot says, I will have to go to the comic shop and inspect this thing. Cover looks good. Yeah, there's no reason to inspect it. There's no reason to go to the store. But I mean, there's no point in buying this. Buy buy one of those books that reprints the original EC books. Those are pretty affordable. That come out now with the color pages, and they reprint ads. And this is what are we looking at here?
This Flash Gordon art looks better than anything in that.
Oh, okay. Let me see the cover on. I wasn't even paying it. I was looking at the chat. I wasn't looking at what you're. Oh, there is no
Just
cover.
want me to
Okay.
draw one for you? What do you want? What do you want on here? I'll paint a cover for you.
Um, I could probably do a pretty good Flash Gordon cover, but okay. So this is the Flash Gordon that was previewed by the Free Comic Book Day book. Um,
It was one. Yeah, it was one I never even got. I never got that one.
yeah, I didn't know it existed until Charlton 66 told me about it. He grabbed one for me. He's saving for me. Um, you just you didn't order it because you figured it just wouldn't interest your customers, huh?
Yeah.
The artwork is better than what we saw in the EC book, but it still doesn't have any words in it. And when
No.
you think about where Flash Gordon came from with the Alex, his origins with Alex Raymond, who was the guy that started everything, because all the artists from Kirby to everybody, that's who they were imitating or dreaming of being, was Alex Raymond. Because Flash Gordon predates comic books by a few years. Okay, it looks like it's pretty gory. So Flash
Yeah.
Gordon's got long hair, like they're gonna probably shave it at some. What, they've revived Flash Gordon? Is that the what they're trying to? Um, have you read this one yet?
No.
Uh, yeah. Library 88 says, yeah, I would likely buy more reprints of original EC stuff for sure. I don't buy new comics. Yeah, I can see why. Now, this is not the Rook from Warren. This is the Rook from that new universe of Ghost Machine. So this I have.
This one's. I can't wait for this one.
Okay, what is the premise of Hyde Street?
I guess it's well, there's this kid. He's like a Boy Scout prankster guy.
Okay.
He ordered some of the spec glasses from the back of a comic in the preview issue.
Well, so they've started a whole line. How many comics are coming out in this?
These are the next lineup right here.
Yeah.
But this is the what's coming out right now. Geiger, Redcoat, and Rook. So these are about. I think these are all coming into a The end of their story arcs. Oh, there's an issue 5, so there's maybe one more.
See this. This looks interesting to me. This does not look as bad as everything else.
Oh,
This
this one.
looks like, yeah. I I like what
This
they're
is good.
doing with this line of comics. Um, do you think they're being sarcastic with the Vaxxer thing, or do you think they really believe that?
That it
Wonder
turns you into a
where
monster? No, they're flipping it, right?
they're flipping it because they're trying to
Yeah,
show that it's ludicrous what these right wingers believe.
yeah.
Okay, because I found it hard to believe that someone making that comic book really. Um, yeah, okay. It's it seems like I would have they should do it more metaphorically, like Star Trek used to do, where you know what they're really talking about, but it's something else. But to just call them vaxxers, that's
I mean, it seems like that story was written about 2 years ago, probably.
yeah. Well, I don't want to. You're
We
not
don't
supposed
even
to talk about this on YouTube, but
we don't
I've
even have to. We
personally
don't even have to
known
talk about that anymore.
I've known at
There's
least
no
a
reason to even
dozen
talk
people
about that anymore.
that have. I don't know many people, and I'd say I know at least a dozen people that have been injured or have bad things have happened. So I shouldn't even talk about this,
I always tell
but
people just talk to your doctor about it. You know,
my my doctor spent seems like 20 minutes trying to convince me, and I said no. but
that you
but
get a
I you
second
know how I
opinion.
am. I'm just a caveman. I'm not a smart person.
You can get a second opinion if you don't like what the doctor told you.
Yeah, the second opinion was mine. It's like, see ya, toodles. Yeah, that was ridiculous. That whole thing. Um, it's like Biden has it, but how many boosters is he? It used to be, if your dog gets a rabies shot and then gets rabies, wouldn't you question it? But if you get a shot for that and you get it 4 or 5 times, it's like, oh well, that's just it would have been worse. My
Well, my
dog would
dog
have
got a
had
lump.
worse rabies. His rabies would have been even worse
My
if
dog got
he.
a lump on his butt for he's had it for 9 years after he got a shot.
Oh yeah, well, my cat Princess died 2 days or a day after a rabies vaccine. That was ridiculous.
Here's
She
one of the
was in
Illuminati
bad
guys.
health, but it
Look
just
at this Illuminati guy right here.
indoor cat doesn't need a rabies vaccine. Yeah. Oh my gosh.
These other guys running the country back in
Yeah.
the late 1700s.
So this comic you're showing again is called what again?
Redcoat.
Redcoat. Okay. Are these ones in the Ghost Machine universe? Do you usually put these in my pile? They don't have to pay an artist there. That's that's silly, man. That's really silly.
He's in the dark though.
I know he's in the dark, but you know, as
It
long
was
as
a
they don't
time
do that too
constraint.
often. If they do that too often, then you'd say, well, they were running it. You
Check
imagine?
out George Washington right here. He's got this magic Illuminati axe.
Yeah, that's cool. Imagine if Jack Kirby had pulled that back in the Silver Age, just turned in a bunch of black squares, said, "Well, they're in the dark here, Stan, for these several pages." And it's not like they had to get a brush and paint those squares black. They just pressed a button on their computer and it put a black field on the square because this is all done by computer. Uh, uh, yeah, I'll do paintings for people, and commission. But you're right now, if I have to do a hundred paintings, that just kill me. I just trying to, I'm just trying to get through an emergency right now. But if you enjoyed the last 5 years of the show, if you could just kick in a little bit, and then you could later, commission a painting from me when I am a little bit more. In a mindset where this is just wonderful. This is like your everyday reality. Like this, are you just you lay in bed and this is what you see? uh, and
We're
you've
at my
so
we're at my
what have you
conference.
so you put that up you put the two different things against each other and it's made it and they work perfectly together. Is that what? No. Oh, yeah. I see how it works. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. These things look great together, but oh, wow. And these are the current ones that are out in the stores now, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm watching Right Side Broadcasting, and the people in the crowd are pretty indignant about last Saturday. Yeah, that book is. What does it look like inside?
World Famous Creatures magazine. I guess there was only maybe 4 or 5 issues, right?
Yeah, it was didn't run. Oh wow, I have a
And they
couple of
all
issues of that, but I don't have a complete run.
those things sell for hundreds of dollars.
Oh, do they? Yeah, that
Yeah, those magazines.
is. Does it have good reproduction inside? I think I asked you this the other week, but I forgot what you said.
This
Is
this
this from Craig Yo? Fantico.
Fanatico.
Fantico. I like Fanatico better though.
I don't know how to say it. I never heard anybody say it before.
Yeah.
Fanatico.
Yeah, is this currently available like through your store or is it something you ordered somewhere else?
I ordered one. I didn't know what it was. I never heard of this magazine.
You ordered it. Okay. And but can you get more for your store?
Yeah, this is a great magazine.
Yeah. How much is that book? Is that a 50, $60 book?
60.
60.
So it's totally worth it. And it has it has sewn in pages.
Have you seen that Illustrators magazine that did the Warren thing? They've got real thick books. One is about the American artist for Warren magazines, and one's about the European artist. Have you seen those?
Uh, Wait, do I have one? Do I have one?
No, it's a real thick book. I saw someone posted it on Facebook. I
What
was
does it have
wondering
in it?
if you had been solicited about them. I bet they're expensive books, though. Let's see.
See that?
We're still at $230. Let's see. Share.
Let's see.
Hold on a second. Someone asked that I repost. Okay, here's the link. I don't know if you can click on the link in the chat and it'll take you there. I don't know how that works. Or if you have to copy it down from the scrolling on the bottom of the screen. Yeah,
When I
this looks
clicked the
great.
when I
What?
clicked the link, it went straight to the GoFundMe.
Oh, oh, okay. Well,
Because
that
I clicked it to get on the show, but it was the wrong link. It went to the
oh,
GoFundMe.
okay, yeah. Well, there's been like some nice people that have donated. It's really appreciated. Yeah, they've done a great job on this. Wow. Does it reprint every page, including the ads and everything?
I think we're still in the. I haven't seen a second cover yet, so I think we're still in the first magazine.
Okay. Be cool if someone could do famous monsters in this kind of format. Um,
Okay, so that was the first. Wow, that's a thick magazine.
well, it was originally more newsprint, so it wouldn't. I think that paper's thicker.
Yeah, it is thick paper. It's almost cardstock.
Oh, that's a nice painting there. Monster blood and gore. Oh boy.
So I guess about 60 something pages each magazine.
Yeah, I don't know. I think I have maybe one issue of this magazine. I'm not positive. They really do try to replicate the look of famous monsters with this. I'm not sure about.
Their photos aren't as good, but they're different photos.
Yeah, well, that's a good spread there. Um, yeah, the thing about
Look at there's
yeah,
comics in them.
yeah, they have little Mad Magazine style comics. That's different from famous monsters. Um, Forrest J. Ackerman had been collecting movie stills for his entire life, so he had
Yeah,
an
he had the better photos.
unparalleled file of photos to use. These other people that started up quickly started up these imitation magazines didn't have the resources. So yeah, I'm not. I can't really tell you whether this was just a magazine that didn't have ads or
So that's three magazines we've gone through.
yeah.
This is the
It seems like every one of these famous monsters imitations had ads in them, and the ads were something I loved more than anything. And
here's a shirt ad.
okay, oh, all right, I see what's going on. This is from Is that John Severin art? It looks like it is. Oh,
Yeah,
I don't know. Yeah,
JS.
JS. Yeah, let's see. Let's. Yeah, okay. I bet this is from the Cracked, whatever company put out Cracked, and they also did another famous Monsters imitation called For Monsters Only. But I'm not sure. But John Severin's presence makes me think that. What movie is that from? Oh, go back to that. Oh, yeah, that's great. Yeah, I like their double page spread photos. Yeah, man. Um,
This is a new printing of the book. I guess they keep this book in print.
oh, okay. So, so there's no real rush.
No,
I'm
they
in a
keep,
financial crisis, and I'm kind of wanting you to order one for me because insane.
no. What I saw is that it's $60, and then it goes up maybe to 75, and then they print a new one.
Oh, as soon as collector demand starts, they realize that there's still demand for another
There-
printing.
There's not
Okay.
too much demand. If it's only going to 75, that means they're keeping it
There's a
around.
limited audience of people that want a book like this, and I don't think there's more than 1,000 probably in the world that want this book. I mean, what do you think?
Yeah, I would have a
That-
hard time selling this book.
yeah, I mean, but if I came in your store, if I had the money, I would instantly buy it. But I don't think there's many people like me, which is why I've got 12 people watching and why nobody's donating to the GoFundMe. Well, few people are. That's, but I probably need to be more entertaining and perform some songs to entertain them. Um, so I did a song and dance to help Maranya a couple months ago, and that seemed to work.
I saved everybody $5 on
Yeah.
this.
Yeah, send the $5 you would have spent on that EC piece of shit to my GoFundMe, man, because I provide so much wonderful entertainment for you, man. I want to go back and watch old Hulk Hogan footage now because after Hulk Hogan's appearance the other night,
Yeah.
you
He
know,
started
when
off a little rough, but then he got warmed up to the crowd and he got back in it.
when Hulk Hogan was popular,
Oh,
I
here's some
wasn't
man.
watching wrestling. I didn't. I mean, I was aware that he was a celebrity. He was everywhere. He even had a Saturday morning cartoon, but I didn't. He was just someone I was aware he existed. But because shit, I was probably in my 20s. I wasn't a little kid watching wrestling. But now I'm a little kid again, wanting to watch Hulk Hogan. Because I I was hearing that Hulk Hogan, who was it? I think I was watching David Nino Rodriguez, and they were talking about, yeah, this is fake fighting, but it's still they're incredible athletes to be doing this stuff. They're really like stuntmen. And he said the fact that Hulk Hogan picked up Andre the Giant, who weighed over 500 pounds, he said that's maybe it was Alex Jones saying that. I think it was Alex Jones saying it.
Yeah, I
It's
heard that.
just, yeah, it was just, I mean,
He
I'm
was
sure
saying how
there's
he could
footage.
barely. He said how he could barely pick up a 100-pound pig.
Yeah, yeah. That's funny. You're listening to the same shit I'm listening to. But you
But
can't. How
no,
do
you
you
can
do
watch
that?
that where he lifts. You can watch that where he lifts Andre. He did that a few times. Yeah,
Yeah, I'm
he
sure
didn't
it's
like
on
lift.
YouTube.
He didn't lift him over his head or anything. And you
Oh,
could
I was
tell
picking.
Andre helps him along. He kind of throws himself into him a little bit.
I was picturing him lifting him over his head, like what was that? Wasn't
No,
there a cover where Batman's lifting Gorilla Grodd over his head, or maybe it's the other way around. Okay, well, it's only about 40 years too late, but I'll become a Hulk Hogan fan. Yeah, here's the ads. Okay, this is wonderful. if you if you could order me one of these, I'll get it from you soon when we get through all this shit. Oh my God, that's definitely from the Cracked Company. Oh, let's see this ad. What? That's a mask you could order?
executioner mask. Yeah,
Oh, that wouldn't that have been great if you had one of those? I wonder if you could find one of those on eBay because they're gonna bring another pandemic back, and that's the mask I'll wear when I go into the supermarket. And they tell me to wear a mask, I'll wear that because they're
I have a
already trying to
I have a
do the
Cobra
bird
Commander
flu on
mask
us.
and it looks like that.
Huh?
Cobra Commander from GI Joe.
Yeah.
That's what he ends up wearing.
Yeah. All this stuff that was popular in the 80s when I was in college. Now I want to go back and like watch it, like the GI Joe cartoon, because that was I was like already grown. That's a great Severin ad. Yeah. I'm sure I have one of them, but maybe I don't.
Transported to the field, ultra
Let's see if any of these 17 people have donated to the GoFundMe. I'm gonna go look here.
Here's the last issue, issue 5.
None of these covers. I don't think I have any of these. I don't think I have any of them, which is weird because something is familiar about it. Maybe I've just
Every one of them is like 200 or 300 bucks.
really and uh, I wonder why.
Probably didn't make very many. If it's like cracked, you don't see cracked as much as you see mad.
Yeah, but crack doesn't have a lot of value usually. Um,
Probably didn't have the same distribution.
well, honestly, I think cracked had just as good a distribution, if not better. I mean, at least in the 70s, my memory of cracked goes back to maybe 1970 when I first saw it, and it was always there. And it was not, it was at cracked was in every supermarket. It was,
Maybe it was always there because it didn't sell as well.
no, it sold. It just, I don't think it was saved. I don't think it was treated with as much respect as Mad. Um, no, Cracked
I liked
was a
them both.
fun magazine. It was, an imitation, but it was,
To me, I liked them both the same.
yeah,
I would buy both off the rack.
right. Cracked kind of changed right there in the mid 70s. It got to be really whatever the fad of the week was. And I mean, they had Fonzie on the cover like
Uh,
every issue for like a year or two. And, but it was always wonderful with John Severin art and everything. Mad always felt a little bit more. It was like Cracked is where you started, and then you moved on to Mad, and then you moved on to National Lampoon, and
Yeah, these are
oh,
cool.
these ads are tremendous. Oh boy, yeah.
I used to have one of these frogs.
So they basically didn't start with ads, but then by this point, um, is there any what's the full name of this magazine again?
Look, there he is.
Yeah, yeah. But is it officially Sylvester P. Smith? It's World Famous Creatures. Okay. Can you play the Trump rally in your store, or would that offend people?
Guess it would depend some.
I mean, do you do it, or is
No,
it not worth it?
I've been watching just nothing but cartoons.
Oh, okay.
I don't mind offending people. I just hate getting those negative reviews.
Oh, yeah.
Then I gotta
Did you
ask.
get did you
Then I
get
gotta
a
ask people to write a review to bury it.
yeah, did you get reviews about political things?
Yeah, all the time. Yeah, so if anybody's watching and they want to leave me a review, that would help out.
Yeah, guys. So where do they go to write the review? Just Google.
Just Google. Yeah, just on Google.
Yeah, guys, go to Google and type in Gotham City Comics. Make sure it's the one in Mesa, Arizona, because there's one in New York that's not related to his store, and I should leave another review.
I don't think you can unless you had a different account.
Oh, you can only leave one?
Uh huh. You can change it, but I wouldn't change yours because yours was good. And it always shows.
No. Well,
I think yours is up at the top. It stays at the top for some reason. The
I'll get
algorithm or whatever.
maybe did I write a long one or something?
I think so.
Well, I'll get Cleo to write one then. You know, she has. I think she has a different account. Yeah, this magazine got better towards the end. Yeah, apparently it's 4 issues, and it always had a mask on the back cover.
I think that was five. I think I counted 5 issues.
Oh, was it 5? Okay. I was just looking. I just looked it up on the internet, and somewhere it said there were only 4 issues. I wonder if
I might have
one of those.
miscounted. I could have miscounted.
Well, I don't know. Do they have any text at the beginning that tells you about the magazine?
Um,
We need to buy more water because I'm worried about SHTF.
the first
I
one,
almost
I guess
bought
the
some
first
water
one
this
came out
morning.
in 58. 58, the first issue came out.
Yeah, and Famous Monsters started in '57, so this was one of the first, if not the first, Famous Monsters imitator. Um,
Printed in the United
she's
States.
yeah, there's a lot of people worried that about the cyber attack. It was just the beginning. That they're gonna turn off our power next. That they're backed against the wall, and they're gonna. So yeah, I could. I'll go grab some more water. Um,
I
and we
read that the
probably
boat. the voting machines in Arizona, I guess, just went blank.
Yeah, because this crowd strike is what Hillary Clinton was using to push all that Russia propaganda against Trump. So um, everything's all tied in. It's just like a battle going on. Um, that looks so great. Do you just have the two? I thought you had some more. Didn't you get?
There's some at the store.
Oh, okay. Did you wind up buying the stuff? What was it? Some guy trying to sell turtle stuff to you last night?
Yeah, I got some of the toys and Funkos and stuff.
Okay. You haven't found any more old comics, have you?
Um, Nothing new, no.
Does the sound continue to work on this one, the replacement?
I hope so.
This ride is scary enough as it is.
We're doing a GoFundMe if anyone would like to chip in to help out here, the Hotel Orloff. There's also a link there in the chat if you'd like to come on the show. And if you go back a couple of people in the chat, you'll see the link to the GoFundMe. Yeah, those are definitely cool. Um, well, so
Are you doing a telephone today?
I guess I am. I just don't know how long I can do it because I don't just I need to make sure everything's okay with Cleo. Um, but I'll try to do one for a little bit. That's so cool. Um, I'm waiting for the Trump rally, which is going to be in 3 hours, 36 minutes, and 28 seconds. But I'm watching Right Side Broadcasting, which was it was the absolute wrong place to be last Saturday night. I was watching Right Side Broadcasting, and they were just panning the crowd to show how big the crowd was. And then I heard the the shots, and then before they cut back to the stage, Trump had already ducked down. So when they cut back to the stage, all I saw was nobody at the podium. So I immediately called out to Cleo, thinking that he was a goner, and she came running in, and she was super upset and praying, and we were both just. And then we saw, then Right Side Broadcasting cut the sound, and so it was silent, and then we saw the Secret Service people walking Trump down, and I could see the blood on his head, but then you could see, you know, him put his fist up, and I thought he was saying the F word. I thought he was saying fucking fight, fucking fight. I thought that's what he was saying, but he was just saying fight. um,
I can't believe that was only a week ago.
yeah, it's almost exactly a week ago, and it was. And then I was. It was just in shock. But the other networks, they had the camera right on Trump when it happened. So, but right side broadcasting just happened to be the moment they panned the crowd. So, um, yeah, it's wild. Monday, they're bringing in this woman that's in charge of the Secret Service, and they're going to grill her before Congress. So that's going to be televised. So that'll be interesting. Um, People are getting nervous. What's his face? Zuckerberg is like coming out and saying that's the coolest, most courageous thing I've ever seen. He's like flipped over to Trump. Everybody's realizing, oh shoot, we better cuddle up to Trump. It's just Elon Musk came out and endorsed him. Um, People that aren't the people that are on the other side at this point are you can there's something wrong with them. Um, but we'll see how all this goes. But yes, please write a review on Google for Gotham City Comics. Then so when that happened, I had just talked to Captain Strangeliffe earlier on the phone, and as I was going to get a comic from him, and then I wound up. So I immediately, and we were talking about Trump and stuff. So he was the first person on my phone. I called and said, "Oh my God, did you see what happened?" And then he was real upset, and he went upstairs because he was down in his basement and watched it. And then he talked about that on his last episode, that I was the one that told him. And then I called Meyer Greenblatt, and then we watched with Meyer. I watched on the other channel the footage, and he watched it. And I just can't believe people are saying it's staged at this point, because it's so obviously not. And then I called you later on, and you didn't know about it because you'd been out watching cartoons. Someone else is coming in. Let's see who this is. Why, it's Meyer.
Hey, what's going on?
Hey, not much. That's am I right? Was I the one that told you about it last week, or did you
Yeah, you
already
called
know?
me. I didn't know about it until you called me.
Yeah. Then we kind of watched it together
Yeah, we
on
did.
another channel,
Yeah, we
and
synced
so
it
I
up
really
and
saw it
backed
for
it
the
up to
first time with.
611. Yeah,
Sorry, I talked over
I
you.
said we synced it up and we backed it up to 611, and we watched it multiple times.
6:11 was, yeah, 6:11. That's the 6:11 p.m. is when it happened. Yeah. Wow. Well,
Yeah, I was
and
watching
something
cartoons. I was just watching cartoons. I had no idea what was going on.
you
You
were
just called
watching
me.
cartoons, and
Yeah,
Kevin was probably watching cartoons and pose and figuring out new ways to put his monster toys together. um, yeah, I watch all these Trump rallies. The whole thing. Uh, so. um,
hey, Kevin. Kevin,
Yeah,
did you show that Flash Gordon model yet?
I have it at the store. I can show you guys in a little bit.
Oh shit! I didn't realize you're not at the. Of course, you're not at the store yet. It's 10:30. I just looked at the clock.
I'll be
but
there.
you,
I'll be
you
there soon.
visually you'd never be able to tell, because his store and his house are like the same place. It's like they're filled with so much cool stuff. Um, did is this a new Flash Gordon model, or is it a redo of the '60s one?
I think it's one that I had and I sold it. I ordered another one, and they probably went on back order, and then I got it maybe like 3 months later or 4 months later.
Oh, is it the one with the little bitty Martian?
I think so. I think he has a he's in his astronaut gear.
Yeah. It's like a 1960s version of Flash Gordon. He's not
Yeah,
in the flamboyant cape and everything.
has a white box.
Yeah. Um. Oh, cool. So you're gonna get that, Meyer?
I don't know. I just want to see it. I've never seen it before. I don't have it. I don't remember seeing it, so I'd like to see it.
Yeah. It's like him standing with a ray gun, and he's more like a modern style astronaut with a bubble helmet. And there's a little bitty Martian that I don't think even comes up to his knee next to him. And I think that the Phantom model kit is similar. And he's standing there maybe with his hands on his hips. And there's a little bitty witch doctor that's about the same scale as the Martian that goes with Flash
Okay,
Gordon.
I've seen
If I,
that. I've seen that model and the little witch doctor. That's interesting.
yeah,
That's cool.
it's the same. It's basically, I think, the same thing. Probably the same sculptor did both models.
Yeah, it was probably a companion piece. They're both King features, right?
Yeah. But have I ever seen a built up Flash Gordon? I don't think I ever have in person. Um, it may have
I
been.
just saw the picture that Kevin posted on Instagram, and it looked like a cool kit. It looked kind of cool.
Oh, I didn't see that. I haven't been paying attention. Um, oh my gosh.
Yesterday, I watched this movie from on YouTube. It's a TV movie from 1981 called Thornwell. Now, I had never seen this movie before, but
Hmm.
it's a made-for-TV movie about the true story of this guy named Thornwell, who was a U.S. Army soldier in France, who is kind of like the first documented MK Ultra case, sort of. They dosed him with LSD, and then they put him through a bunch of interrogations, isolation techniques. They basically used him, not basically, they literally used him as a guinea pig to do these psychological operations that I guess were initiated maybe in Montreal. That's why it ended up being tested in France on US Army service members. And it was coordinated through like Spectre or Chaos, one of those agencies you might have heard of. But yeah, it was a pretty
Yeah,
good
those.
movie. And it was interesting that they seeded the population in 1981 with something that happened just 20 years earlier. In 1961 is when this supposedly happened. So they seeded the population with a TV movie in 1981 that probably not that many people watched. And if they did watch it, they were already so deeply indoctrinated that it felt unbelievable to them that this could actually have ever happened to this guy. So, and it was just brain dumped. Everybody just dumped it. I never even heard of it my entire life. I didn't see it in 1981. I never heard of it until yesterday. Um, it's
Yeah,
interesting. Anyway, Thornwell, 1981. Pretty good movie.
Thornwell, and it's on YouTube, huh?
It's on YouTube. Yeah, you just have to look up Thornwell, 1981. In the end, because of this documentation and because of Thornwell's persistence after he was discharged from the army, he went from, he had a pattern of PTSD and anxiety and a typical veteran pattern where he moved every 3 or 4 years and got new job. But through all of it, he was looking for adequate legal representation, which he finally got. And in the end, in like 1979, the government gave him hush money. Like they paid him like 400 grand or 500 grand. I forget what it was. But and then the movie came out a couple of years later. And at the end, they say, and now James Thornhill is rebuilding his life. And that's it. That was it.
I just wonder. It's like everything I grew up believing. Mate, I just wonder if how this is all going to turn out,
Yeah. Yeah.
and all this stuff in the comic books, and in the Ian Fleming novels, and in the James Bond movies. just figure, oh, that's ridiculous. An organization like Spectre or Chaos and Get Smart, it's all reality. These things really exist. It's just,
Yeah, that's why that's in a way you can even say that's the purpose of the reason why they decided to make those Ian Fleming movies at the time that they made them. The reason James Bond became it's all, in my opinion, it's predictive programming. It's seeding and watering down the populace so they become used to it, and it becomes a fanciful, ridiculous, fictitious world.
yeah, Dr. Strangelove,
Mhm.
oh, it's funny that this general is worried about fluoride. It's just
Right.
like,
And then you can even
yeah,
say, like, all the way up to present day, it turned out that that opera song at the end of Trump's rally is from that movie, The Sum of All Fears, which
yes,
is about, right? Have you heard about all that?
yeah, and the sum of all fears was mentioned in the,
We lost Kevin. Oh, he went to the store.
oh, probably the
Maybe he's on his way to the store. Go ahead. I'm
the
sorry.
sum
I'm
of all
talking.
fears was mentioned in the that letter that can't be mentioned. That was they mentioned several movies and those the letter that comes after P. They said they talked about the Hunt for Red October and the Sum of All Fears and some other movie that they were kind of hinting around that these movies are ones that you should watch. That I don't know. It's all very. I'm changing kitty litter as one time. It's it's something.
Yeah, it definitely is. So I guess we just sit for 3 months while the whole country, or maybe the world, is being run by an unelected cabal that we don't know who any of them are. We don't know what's going on. So we're just going to sit for 3 months and wait and hope that Trump will win. But otherwise, we're just being controlled by some sort of a
I
Legion
don't
of Doom.
know
It's like the Legion of
the
Doom that's in charge. Is that who's calling the
the
shots?
the the conspiracy shows say that, or they always say conspiracy is that Trump never handed over the codes, and that if there were there, he's the only one that could authorize that, and that may have been why they were raiding Mar-a-Lago to try to get a hold of that. That he's still in control in some ways, but I'm not saying I believe that. I don't know. I don't know what it's. There's stuff going on that's maybe we'll know in our lifetime. Maybe we never will know. But it's there's a lot more going on than what we think. And that kid wasn't acting alone. But the comic books sure are cool. Oh my gosh, let's look at some comic books. And just ignore what's going on. It's, oh well. Well, the kitty litter boxes are now clear. Um, what are people saying in the chat here? Gotham City, I'll be back soon. My wife says I got censored because I tried to tell you guys something about the. Oh no, she's typing about that. Yeah, we're probably not supposed to be talking about all this. AJ said it's possibly linked to election fraud. Oof, she's making me say things I can't say. We were very confused. See, that's the problem. I shouldn't read the chat. If we just had people that just said, "Hi, how you doing? How's your cat?" Then it would be so much easier than people talking about these bad words that are not allowed in George Orwell's America. Uh, all right. Let's see.
You know, I was telling Kevin that I found, so I was going through this old Foot Locker yesterday, and there's some old newspapers in there from like 1974,
Uh-huh.
1975. And I just hope the one that I picked up first, I opened it up 2 pages in, and there's an ad for the Emporium for kids' t-shirts, and it's Wacky Packs
I saw
t-shirts.
you had some of those on Instagram. Could
That's
you
what
get
it's,
a could you get a
that was,
like a shot of the whole thing instead of like, or maybe you put one up. I just saw little
it
zoomed
didn't.
in pictures.
I didn't. I just took little close-up shots because it was dark and the lighting was bad, and I didn't pull away completely. But I'll try and get a shot, or I'll pull it up in a second.
Yeah, I'd
But there was
love
a bunch
to.
of stuff in that chest. I haven't even gone through. There's going to be more papers, I think, at the bottom as well. But the cool part was there was a, well, first of all, it sucks that I was doing it because it's my older brother's Foot Locker from high school, maybe the
Yeah.
first year of college. I don't know. It's filled with stuff. So I've had it for probably 20 or 30 years, and I've asked him multiple times, what do you want me to do with this stuff? And he says, throw it away. But I never thrown it away until now. 30 years later, this is the first time I've opened it up and I've looked through everything because I'm trying to get rid of everything. I'm packing and moving. I don't want to take any paper that I don't need because it's heavy, right? But meantime,
Right.
this chest has been in my son's bedrooms their entire lives, and it's been used as like an end table with a lamp on top of it and a stereo on it.
Oh,
And
okay.
I don't think they ever opened it up and looked through it. So I opened up and looked through it, and it's filled with all kinds of stuff that you or I would cherish and love. But multiple times he said, I don't want it, just throw it away, throw it away. It's filled with art, uh, architectural design, tons of sheet music, songs that he
Oh,
wrote, pictures of his friends. Um, but I don't want any of it, and he doesn't, and I don't want to hang on to any of it. So I'm throwing it away. But as I'm going
cool.
through it, there's also a bunch of stained glass stuff in there because he used to make stained glass windows. And so in between the sheets of the colored glass at the bottom of the chest, he has old newspapers from 1974 and 1975, which
Right.
would have been new at the time, that he put between the glass. And so out of everything in there, the best stuff I've found has been the old newspapers. But the best thing I found is that there's letters in there from my mother that she wrote to him when he was away at school, at boarding school, when
Uh-huh.
in 1974 and 1975, and they're inside of there. So I was like, well, look, that's my mom's handwriting. So I started pulling these letters out and reading them. And that's the best thing of all. He just wants me to throw away these letters from his
Oh,
dead mom that he doesn't care about. But I read some of them are great because she's writing to him apparently every couple, 2, 3 days. I didn't even know, because I'm like 10 years old at the time. And she's like talking about mundane things. Like one of the best ones I just read last night. She said, I just dropped David off and my cousins, Kelly and Sean. I dropped them. I'm heading to Mervin's. I think she said, I'm heading to Mervin's to go shopping. I dropped the boys off at the movie. They're going to see Escape from Witch Mountain. I was like, wow, how cool
oh
is that?
wow.
It
Fourth
was the night
grade.
we went, it was the night that Sean and Kelly and I saw Escape from Witch Mountain. And but yeah, it was nice reading my mom's handwriting,
Yeah.
and at the same time, it pissed me off that he had all this shit for 30 years and he didn't even care about it the whole time, and I've been hanging on to it for him, and now I'm looking at it and I'm realizing what valuable stuff it is. And so then that just reaffirms my relationship with him because we don't get along. Never
But the
have.
valuable stuff is the stuff that was, well, the letters are valuable, but the
Yeah.
newspaper that was just in there to protect the
Yes.
other stuff is the cool stuff, and the stuff that was there to protect is not as cool as the stuff that was there to just protect it.
Yes,
Or you get,
exactly. Yeah, you're right.
well, you got to save the letters from your mom, and
Yeah, I am. I saved everything we've been talking about. I saved the newspapers, letters from my mom. I
yeah.
actually saved a stack of black and white photos of his friends because I remember some of these people. I know some of them, but at the same time, it's so hippie-ish. It really, I don't like his art and his writing. It just takes me back to the time, and he was like this little rebel, little hippie with a bad attitude, real bigoted and biased and
uh,
anti-American, real anti-American and shit. pisses me off.
Oh,
But
okay.
anyway, yeah, I'm saving all that good stuff.
Bigoted in the reverse sense. Like,
Yes, the reverse
then
sense. For example, I found these cards. I just threw them away, but I found these comment cards that came from NASA from when his school. So he was in this, like I said, so he was in this special school, and they would travel all over the country, this special school, and they would go on field trips to like NASA, to the Houston Space Complex or something. And I don't know. So he went to a couple different governmental like tours and stuff. And at the end of those old tours, remember they give you that little yellow or blue card that's like an index card that asks for you to give your impression of the experience, and you're supposed to drop it, and it's like a postcard. You either drop it in the box there, or you can put it in the mail. So anyway,
yeah,
he had two of them that he had wrote like like responses on, but he didn't mail them or drop them in the box. He kept them because I think it made him feel important, because he was so snide and insulting and everything. And his critiques were very interesting. He was like really un-American, and he was saying that that uh, that it should have been more. If this is in 1974, he's already saying it should have been more inclusive, or that it was biased and too raw. But it was all written by like a 15-year-old, so it was poorly written. It wasn't well
yeah,
written, but it was interesting. You could tell he was learning in 1975 at the special school all the leftist stuff that is now completely pervasive the entire,
yeah,
it's invaded the entire education system. Well, it was there in a higher education uh, private prep school that he went to. It was already, he was a leftist, and I can see it in his schoolwork. It's fucked up. Anyway,
mm. But you're saving the newspaper with the wacky package ad, right?
yeah, it's already set aside. There's more papers I haven't made it to the bottom of the chest yet. So the paper with the wacky packages in it, I saved, and it's a complete section, and it has the obituaries and the want ads in it, which are super fascinating already. Apparently, Mamie Eisenhower had just died, so the lead story on the obituaries is Mamie Eisenhower.
Oh, wow. Um, yeah,
But yeah, I'm
that
saving all the
one with
good stuff.
the one with the wacky package thing, I might like if you could at some point get not like a photograph, but like an actual scan, like on a at Kinko's or something of that. I might like an actual, you know, that's
Yeah, sure. I'll see what I
of the
can do.
whole ad. I don't know how big the ad is, whether it would fit. That was
It's
pretty
like
cool.
it's a rectangular uh full page like side block. I don't know all the what the terminology is, but it's a large ad. It's a large skinny rectangular ad from top to bottom on the right hand margin of a page. You understand what I'm
Uh,
saying? Yeah.
yeah. Uh, yeah, because it was showing how you could get T-shirts of wacky package stuff, and one of the things they showed was
Fang.
Fang. Yeah, so
Yeah.
they've got
Let
a
me grab
real
it right now.
bottle of
Hold on. I'm gonna
Fang
grab
here.
it and we'll see if we can look at it. Hang on, let me grab it.
I blew up a wacky package. What I did is I was at a garage sale, and I found a bottle of Tang from that time period, but someone had something stored in it, but didn't have the label. So I made labels from my wacky package sticker of Fang, put it on the side. So that's what I
That's
did.
perfect.
All right, let me give you a full screen here.
Yeah, that's perfect. I think that's probably what a lot of kids did to mess around with their moms or something. Is you would put the sticker on a product that it was making fun of in the house or something.
Yeah, that's very nice white pages there.
July 23rd. Look at how close it is to today's date. It's July 23rd, 1974. This is 50 years
Oh,
ago. Almost exactly 50 years ago, guys, right?
yeah, yeah, yeah.
So here's the ad. What's funny is that when I found this paper, and there's more underneath, but this is the one that was on closest to the top. I just opened it up and thinking, wow, there might be some good stuff in here. And immediately this ad was there. And I was like, what? So he has an A-Jerks shirt.
Yeah. I had an A-Jerk shirt. I did. With the little, yeah, with the, or maybe it was Liquid Bomber.
And this is,
No, it
it
was
says
Liquid Bomber.
there's 6 up. So there's 10 t-shirt designs. There's 6 up. There's Fang. There's I Can't Believe I Ate the Whole Thing.
Right, those ones.
There's what is that?
Devil Made
The
Me
Devil
Do
Made
It.
Me Do It. Horsepowered or whatever that used to, look at these.
Right. They used to advertise all these in comics.
Then there's Plastered Peanuts.
Yeah.
And it's at the Emporium in San Jose, Mountain View.
Oh,
sorry.
Wow.
Which is San Jose.
That's great.
And I haven't even looked. There might be some more good stuff in here. I haven't really looked through it. Here's some Murder Suspects.
July of '74. Yeah, it was third grade that Wacky Packages just really hit me. 6 Up, I think, is from the very first series of Wacky Packages.
Remember this is how you had to find a job.
Yeah, sure. Did you see earlier when I was looking at a 1979 newspaper and the movie ads?
Yeah, I'm really looking forward to reading through all of these one ads. I mean, I'll read this whole thing.
Left right now is to make our attention as soon as possible go away from.
There's a Mamie Eisenhower quote right here in the corner.
See, let's just not fall for it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Let me see if I can't remember if I can find these. Let me look.
That's wild seeing everything so you really are serious about the move. All these white walls.
Oh yeah, it's empty. Look, here's what's left in this chest that I still have to go through. I'm gonna grab these.
And the information that's being shared, is it the true narrative or is it the false narrative? Anyway.
There's one magazine.
We saw outside a lot of good times.
I'm gonna grab the one magazine that was in there. It's an issue of New West, and it was my uncle's in San Jose. It says Richard Reese, San Jose, California.
Share his heart about what happened.
And it has some guy on the cover. What's this? The case against Ethel Younger. It's New West.
Yeah, that was kind of a left-wing magazine, right?
Yeah, I'm sure it was.
Oh,
yeah, it was like a California news magazine, as I would describe it. And a West
the ad
Coast
on the back is cooler.
Look at that.
Yeah, those things were so freaking heavy.
Look at how huge that thing is. It's probably $1,000 right there.
Yeah, when they came out,
Mm-hmm.
when they dropped down to 500 is when I got my first VCR. I mowed lawns for I don't know how long to raise that money to get my first VCR. That must have been about 1980.
Yeah, this is a San Francisco magazine. All the ads everything seems to be regional, I'm noticing.
Famous person on earth, without a doubt, will be right there.
Yeah, I thought that was a national magazine, but I guess I'm wrong. I'm thinking of there was some magazine called Mother something. Oh.
Once again, 200,000 residents located here. We're about 30 miles east of Lake Michigan.
I mean, a couple of the pictures are pretty good.
And the DNC is.
These would have been all taken by my brother, it looks like, probably in a photography class.
With the
Oh.
fake news, ABC will be
This
hosting
is
the
Rick,
debate between
one of the only friends of my brother's that was cool.
nominee, possibly the incumbent Joe Biden.
This was a special school for gifted
American finance
teenagers.
well, one of
Is
our
how I would
Okay.
describe it.
here
Yeah.
at Right Side Broadcasting Network.
And they live there?
Yes, they lived there.
You can do so.
Oh.
Everybody did. It was a boarding. You had to live there. You couldn't be in the school and not be in the program. Everything was provided. You know what I mean? It was a food, everything. You know what I mean? It was a thing.
Yeah, that's weird. Did they have to isolate you?
They did. You're right.
Excerpts from his speech on Thursday night.
Yeah.
Let's just rewind real quick.
Could he have commuted to it? Or was it
Could he
far
have
away?
commuted to it? No.
Could he have?
Could he have? No.
I mean, it
At the
wasn't close
beginning, when he
enough.
first started going there, we still lived in the same place where the school was, and he moved out and moved into school full time.
Oh.
So even though we lived in this, so it started out in San Jose. The school that he went to was outside of San Jose, California, and we were living in San Jose. And so the first year, maybe not the first year, maybe the first 6 months when he started going to the school and it all started, he was not living at home. Even though the school was like a 15 or 20-minute drive away, he was living at the school full time. And I think it started in 7th or 8th grade. I can't remember exactly, but I'm guessing right around there.
Did he come home on weekends?
No.
So
No.
that's total indoctrination. That's like a cult. To
100%.
get someone that young. It's almost like the X-Men.
Everybody was from, so you had to have money to go in this school because it was all private. Everybody came from, like, all of my brother's friends were kind of these weirdo kids that came from rich families, kids that were either really smart or really talented, kids that were too smart for school. That's what I remember being the story with this place, is that your brother is too advanced for regular high school. He needs to be somewhere where they can really focus, on his talents and abilities. And that was what was going on, because they're like, wait a minute, your brother, this kid is 12 and 13 and he's already writing music and he's playing piano by ear and he's painting, which is all the stuff that he was doing. And, he's really talented in different ways. And so that was how the whole thing started.
So why couldn't they get
thought he
kids
was
from poor backgrounds that were gifted into that school? It seems like they'd be
There were
trying to do
none.
that.
There were no people from it because it was all it was private, so you had to pay. It was a big check, probably every year or every 6 months that my mother wrote to them.
But it seems like they would get kids that are underprivileged and give them a scholarship to make it diverse.
You would think, but I don't believe that anything like that was happening. All the people that I met were my brother's friends, because sometimes my brother would come home in the summertime for a short amount of time, for a week or two, but then they would have summer activities as well. So he would only, even in the summertime, he would only come home for like maybe a month or something, because he was totally into this thing. Sometimes he would bring his friends home because his friends weren't even going, just like him. They weren't going home at all either. And so the week or two that he would come to spend with his actual family, he would bring a friend or two with him. Isn't that interesting? Huh. And he's still in contact with most of these, or a lot of these people too. And I know a lot of them too. One of them, that guy Rick, that was the coolest one, that was really odd and funny. Like he ended up being, he owns a Porsche dealership in Santa Cruz. So that's, I always thought that was interesting. I was like, wow. So he went from this freaking special school for hippie weirdos to total corporate life, selling $100,000 sports cars. That always interested me. I thought that was interesting because he was this kid that wouldn't go anywhere without a skateboard, long hair, wanted to be barefoot all the time, big bell bottoms with the braid at the bottom and everything. Even though his family was rich, he would wear tore up, dirty clothes and not cut his hair. The whole thing. Remember that 1974, 1975.
Yeah.
So it was a prep school for hippies, is how I would describe it.
That's
A
pretty
prep school kind
wild.
of run by, they weren't really hippies, they were clearly leftists. Okay. So the people that ran the school were these types of people that probably went to college in the late 50s, early 60s, but now they had a little long hair and a well-trimmed beard and a turtleneck, right? And they decided that they were going to change the education system and make it alternative or make it something. I don't know. I don't know what they were doing. But anyway, that's
Did any of these kids go on to be in politics?
not that I know
Politicians?
of, but probably. Not that I know of, but probably.
Hmm.
I don't know.
Yeah. So I know the World Economic Forum likes to groom young people to be leaders, you know. Well, that's great. Yeah, I wonder if those shirts are probably decals. Yeah, they probably are.
It even says in the ad that they're decals. It says that you can pick the color. It gives like the color of the shirts, the sizes, and then the decals are numbered. So it makes it seem like you can go there, and if your kid is a certain size, you pick. I don't know whether they're applying the decals there, but it says one wacky decal plus T-shirt equals fun. The world looks sunnier in a wacky top shirt. Come choose your favorite decal and we'll press it on one of our own T-shirts. Everyone loves wacky tops, even mom and little sis. Choose from our big selection of decals. It's got the shirt sizes. It's got adult sizes. Kids are $3. Adults are $4.
There's my childhood Jerkins Wild Soap. Wash out your mouth with Jerkins Wild Soap. Cleans up
Oh,
dirty
that's cool.
words. And this is my Don Martin Captain Klutz shirt.
Oh man, that's great.
Uh, oh
In one
boy.
of the letters, in one of the letters, my mom is like, I know that you're busy and I know that you're having fun and you're enjoying yourself, but just if you could drop me a letter every now, she was like even saying if it was just once a week, it was really, I was like, damn, this motherfucker. She's like, and she wrote that letter inside of the letter that she was sending to him for his 16th birthday, and she said, I can remember this was one of the most the one of the four most beautiful days of my life was this day 16 years ago. And she did that letter, right? And then about halfway through the letter, she's telling him, please write me. I know you're having fun and growing your hair long and probably smoking weed and doing whatever you're doing at
She
16.
didn't
And
say
she had
that, did she?
no, not at all. But I mean, and she probably didn't even think that either. But I mean, it just busts my balls. It pisses me off that he's like off having fun and doing all this shit, and she's paying for it, and he's not answering her letters.
Yeah, yeah. Although
And then he doesn't
that's
want her letters.
probably typical of kids that age.
Yeah, maybe. I don't know though. I don't know though. They make you write letters when you're in the army and you're 18, and it's an important part of the whole thing.
They do. Oh.
Yeah, at the beginning they'll make you write them. I mean,
Oh boy.
To 98989. You'll get all of the information you need from an information kit. All about gold, silver, and
but
precious
some of his
metals.
art is good, and that pisses me off too. Like I'm looking at these fucking house plans and architectural designs made by a 15-year-old. It kind of pisses me off. Pisses me off that I have to throw them away. It's like these are really cool, and if I had a better relationship or feeling towards my brother, I would keep it all, right? Because this is my
Yeah.
son's uncle, but we don't have a relation. My sons have only met their uncle 2 or 3 times in their entire lives. They don't even, so
What?
they don't. Yes, yes.
Really? Did he not respect your choice to go into the army or something?
No, he's just never lived in California. We've
Oh.
never been close. like our entire lives. Like I told you, he's 5 years older than me, and so we never he's totally opposite. So he didn't do the stuff we were into. He didn't like comic books. He didn't like toys. He didn't. It's he's a whole different person. And so because of that 5 year difference, when he was 9 and I was 4, or he was 10 and I was 5, we had zero. We barely crossed each other's paths because we didn't have the same interests. We didn't hang out at all. So I'm outside playing every day, being a typical kid. He's in his room, like at a drawing board or playing piano. He was like
Did you?
playing piano on his own, like at 10 years old.
Was there anywhere that your interest crossed, like a particular band or playing a
Yeah, yeah.
particular
So
game or something?
I would say that we both liked Cat Stevens. I learned about Cat Stevens from him.
Okay.
His art
Okay.
style, it almost looks like the art that I was looking at yesterday is highly influenced by that album art, cover art that Cat Stevens used to do. Remember, it's kind of this, looks like a girl is painting it, kind of this soft, cartoonish type stuff. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's what
Right.
his art looks like. Um,
We the people emulate or
I'm
inspire.
trying to think of anything else. Not really. We've always liked the opposite things, and I've always felt like he thought that he was better than I am, and that I was childish and stupid. Like, as for example, I liked Charlie's Angels, and he thought that that was an absolute ridiculous everything. He hated everything that I liked. He thought was stupid. Like Kiss, hated Kiss. You understand everything? He was
Yeah.
indoctrinated to be like a little Neil Young, Joni Mitchell type person.
Yeah, I could see how someone like that would dislike Kiss and Charlie's Angels. Yeah. Um, wow.
Right. I mean, he thought that he was better than me because he's like, reading Taming of the Shrew and I'm reading Spider-Man. You know what I mean? So he
Okay.
thought that that made
Yeah.
him smarter or better than me, or made me like I don't know, like inconsequential in a way, like not as smart as them. So all three of my older siblings are all college graduates and of this exact same ilk, and I'm the youngest, and I'm the only one who was not like that. I'm the only one who didn't graduate high school, got in trouble, like, and then joined the army right out of high school, no college. They hate the military, like they don't like. They're like not patriotic.
Yeah. Library 88 says, "Don't throw that stuff away. I'm rescuing all my old family photos and ephemera from uncaring relatives.
Oh.
Stressful to find out what was already thrown out, but I saved some great stuff." Well, he's saving all the letters from his mom.
Yeah, I'm saving all the letters. I'm just throwing away his stuff that he doesn't want, which is like art and school papers and poems and songs, sheet music like that he wrote. I don't know why he wouldn't want this stuff. All these years, he's never wanted it back, never thought about it.
Does he
That's
know
weird.
that's in there?
Yes, yes, he knows it's all there.
Wow.
Yeah, I told him about it multiple times years ago. Is in fact, like the last time was just a couple years ago. The last time I talked to him.
And he
We got
knows
into an
there's sheet
argument about
music and all of this art,
yeah.
and he just doesn't. Well,
Yeah, the
okay.
last time I
Well,
talked to him ended up in a shouting match talking about how Joe Biden had just won, and he was saying that the border is not open, and he lives in Texas. And I was telling him, dude, the border is open like 90 minutes from where you live. There's like 10,000 people a day crossing over. You have no clue what's going on. And so we got into a big shouting match about that.
well, there's nothing nostalgic about that. There's no. He doesn't want it, but you're not throwing away precious, family photos and ephemera. You're
No,
saving the cool stuff, and
saving the cool
yeah,
stuff. Yeah.
yeah. I mean, if there was some actual something cool, you would recognize it and save it. So
So
I don't. I
I would throw away the chest if I didn't have to keep it. The reason why I'm keeping the chest is because it's one of my father's old foot lockers from World War II, and he painted it with all of his hippie painting over the front of it, but on the back it's still green. So
oh.
even if I can't strip the paint off, I still need to keep it because it's my dad's foot locker from World War II.
So
Yeah.
when you display it, you'll turn it around where the green part's displayed.
Yes. Yes.
And does it still have did he paint over the part where your dad's name was?
No,
Or is that
luckily my dad's name and his social security number are still on the back, or they called it service number at that time. I think it's like, it's
yeah.
not the same number of, numbers, I
Well,
think.
yeah, you need to turn the chest around and then put your
Yes,
military GI Joe kind of stuff on top of it, or
exactly. And I'm
you
going to
know.
put my military stuff inside of it as well.
Yeah, yeah. Okay. So that, yeah, everything's being, don't worry, Library 88. Trust me, the people like us aren't going to throw away anything. We don't, we, s- we don't throw stuff away unless it's, I've got stuff of my brother's here that, and I haven't talked with him. Um, man, I don't know what, uh, Cleo decided it'd be good for us to get new phone numbers. Uh, I don't really remember, but we changed our phone numbers. And this was years ago, and um, after I got that new number, I remember that I texted my brother and told him, "Hey, I have a new phone number," and we just adopted a new dog because it was when we adopted Drew. So that's 6 years ago, and um, so my wife had some surgery that um, and well, my brother was real religious, and he would talk to my wife for hours on the phone about religion and stuff, and real nice spiritual guy. And so, well, I'm trying to think in his defense, how this might have happened. But there was a time that I borrowed some money from him. I don't remember if it was $200 or $500, and he said, "Don't worry about it. It's a wedding gift." But I actually asked him for the money because we were in some world of hurt for some reason back years ago. But my wife had surgery and that removes this big thing, and that hopefully is not what's causing the problems that she might. That's why I'm doing this GoFundMe, but I don't want to get into all the details of that. People can, if they care and they've enjoyed my show and they care about us, maybe they could kick in $20, $30. If not, that's fine. They could just pray for, I'm sure it'll all turn out okay. But anyway, so she had some surgery. And so she called up my brother because she just wanted to say, "Hey, I had some surgery," and just talk about, God and stuff. And I think he sent a text back to her. It says, "Do not call this number again." And it's just like, and I just assumed that he thought maybe we were calling to ask for money again or something. I don't know. But then he sent another text that said that I had changed my phone number and hadn't told him, and he was pissed about that. And I had the text that I had sent him, and I don't know. He was just like, "Well," he says, and she said, "Well, she says for not, he says for me not to contact him anymore, but that doesn't mean you can't contact him." That was and I said, "Well, you're my wife, we're like one person. So if he's saying for you not to contact him, then so I haven't, and he hasn't. I don't know. I've kind of lost touch with him. I guess he thought we were asking for money, and I don't know. I've lost 2 or 3 subscribers. So maybe people get upset when you ask for money, but I provided over 1,000 shows in 5 years and not made one penny from YouTube. So I thought maybe I could do a GoFundMe because we're in financial hot water where my wife's worried all the time. I thought maybe some, but maybe not.
No,
And so,
absolutely you can. Absolutely you
but
can. There's
I,
years of
I
free entertainment for many of
Rumble
the
I've
many
made about
people.
30 cents from, but YouTube I haven't gotten it yet, but I think it might even be up to 40 cents. I haven't checked. They give you money, a few pennies from the get-go, but YouTube you have to have 1,000 subscribers. I don't know what all uh but anyway, so either I lost 3 subscribers because I asked for money, or I lost 3 subscribers because I had a picture of Donald Trump in a Superman suit. That could have done it. I so, but yeah, I guess my brother. I don't know what it was. Why he just. That's my only family. I mean, I've got Cleo, I've got her family, but that's my only family. Is my oldest brother passed away, and my parents are gone, and I don't know. Let's see. My wife says I wanted to talk to him because I had such a scary experience when the anesthesia wore off. It felt like a near. She means near. Says bare death, a near death experience, and it had been a whole while. More like 6 subscribers. Have I lost 6 now? Oh, great. Well, those people need to be gone. Glad they're gone. I mean, because I'm really not asking for money all the time. If I was doing it, I mean, clearly there must be a reason. And I mean, I did have a prior commitment to Captain Strangeliffe. I was buying something for him. I got that paid to him yesterday, although I had trouble with this cyber attack trying to pay him through PayPal. Didn't work because the bank was Chase, and Chase is one of the things affected by all that. So we had to pay him through Zelle. And then I made a little order to Gotham City Comics because I promised them I'd make an order. And after that, I'm not going to be buying any more of this collectible shit. We're in hot water, but I made promises, so I figured, I'm not going to be a rat fink about that. And although Kevin wouldn't have mind, I'm sure Kevin Strangelove, but he had an offer from someone else for more money, and he was saving this thing for me. So I figure I don't want to be a rat fink. Yes, yeah, yeah, they do. Bye bye. She says, I, I don't know what she means. Yeah, they do. Bye bye. But I don't know, man. So that's funny. Um, but these aren't good financial times for anybody, so I understand. But we, we kicked in $150 to a cause here on YouTube recently, and or more, and did fundraisers. And then some friend of hers was homeless, and I said, well, I'll send him $100. So but we'll see if it. Let's see. And people need to get the message when I tell them we aren't buying anything frivolous right now. That's pissed me off. Oh well, yeah. There's people trying to sell us. I'm not other people. Um, yeah, I'm not really in the market. I've got. If I'm going to buy anything, it's going to get more. I'm going to get more stuff from Kevin. He's got so much stuff. I hear you got a set of those little jigglers coming to you.
Yeah, I thought they might be coming today, but I haven't seen them yet. But I'm thinking
Oh, that
it's
would be cool
possible.
if you could unbox them. Yeah,
Yeah, that's what I was hoping
yeah.
for.
He set a set for me back too. Just
Yeah,
unbelievable. I can't even believe the stuff he was getting the other day. Or was that yesterday or 2 days ago?
yeah,
Those all that store stock. I couldn't
I love it.
believe
Yeah, I love it.
how much of that stuff is out there, man. Just in the back of buildings. No wonder.
I think it's so cool. I would. I mean, I think that it would be cool. I know it's difficult to. Nobody makes the stuff now. I talked to Kevin about it. He obviously knows about all this stuff, but nobody currently produces this stuff in the same way with the same packaging. Sometimes they do, some companies do, but it has that, it's that retro feel to it or something.
Right,
I just
right.
like the idea of there being a section in a shop like Kevin's shop where it is a bit like the old souvenir shop section for kids, where you've got tricks and toys, rack toys, and you know what I'm talking about.
Ironically, there's an
Love
end
that.
cap in the supermarket a block from me where they've tried to do something like that. They have like I got a couple of weeks ago. I got this lizard from there, and they have
Oh yeah,
whoopee cushions and shit.
that's
This
great.
was an interesting thing. I went to a self serve where you pay. You where you don't have the person ringing you up, and I put this on the conveyor belt, and then it got caught where the conveyor belt goes down in the between the conveyor belt and the metal thing, and it was starting to bubble up like it was about to explode. I had to have someone come over. How do I get this lizard out of? I said, I bet this is something you've never had to do before. Yeah, the lizard was about to explode. Uh, so, yeah, so
Yeah, fake vomit, cigarette loads, X-ray
yeah,
glasses,
and
all
and
that
and
stuff.
there's people that do this stuff, and they know that it has a nostalgic niche. The coffee shop down the street, well, she doesn't run it anymore. She does an antique store now. That's where I got these candy cigarettes.
Oh, that's amazing that you found those, that those exist.
Yeah, there
That's
was a
great.
whole box. There's King, Stallion, Victory, Lucky Lights, and Roundup.
Good job. I'm glad you got that's outstanding. That's amazing.
I
You
I
found those.
got
These are great.
I got one of each. Yeah.
Dude, you're as sick as I am.
Yeah,
When I
absolutely.
see stuff, I'll do the same thing. If I see something like that, yeah, it's
That's why I asked for the box when I bought all these Planet of the Apes things back in fourth grade. So I've still got the box. Still got these TV guides.
oh man,
This-
those fall previews.
so I've got this is my little store here. Um, so my goodness. Uh, the problem with the right side broadcasting, they sometimes, I guess, to avoid when they when the rally's starting to play like big music, like probably Queen, and they're playing the music. Were like they realize, oh, we're going to get all kinds of copyright claims, so they start playing their music, and it's just this horrible music that sounds like this.
Yeah, I like right side broadcasting and I like Newsmax, but for this stuff this past week, I've been watching C-SPAN. I watched C-SPAN. I've been watching the rally on C-SPAN because there's no interruptions and you get the musical breaks. I've been listening to that band. That I like that stage band that they've been having at the RNC. I think it's been kind of fun and funny. It's like
Yeah,
this
I
yacht
wonder
rock,
who that. who-
you know.
I wonder who that band is. That cover band they had at the RNC.
I don't know. My cousin first mentioned. He's like, "Dude, you got to switch to C-SPAN so you can listen to this band." We were kind of joking about it at first, but then we all came to the realization that somebody needs to make a mix. Somebody needs to make a video on YouTube of all of these interstitial band performances and make it like a 45-minute, playlist on YouTube. I'd add it. I mean, I would like to see them all play again and in like a 40-minute video of all the different, because they played some good stuff. Some of it was really good. And my favorite part is the audience. I love the crowd shots of all the people dancing, all the bingo wings flying through the air. I've never been so happy to see so many ladies with bingo wings. I'm completely on board. I'm a Trumpite.
So Moondust says, Gratu, just interested if that lady who was asking for money, has she ever been back to this channel since she got her money? A couple of times. This really isn't, I don't think, her type of entertainment. She's more in a different area of comicdom or the community. She's more. I don't know that this is the type of entertainment. I mean, I don't know. But no, that was a great thing. We raised the prob I think $4,000 or $5,000. We did it. I mean, we raised maybe a couple thousand here. I probably was on the air 20 hours raising money and other shows did raise money too, and we got her up where she was about to be evicted, so that was an important thing. Um, but and she, yeah, well, someone came to the show. One of the geeky puppet frogs came and asked if we would help promote her GoFundMe, and we did. And but because that was an emergency, but I don't think I'm a lot. I don't, not her, but a lot of the people she associates with really don't like me very much because uh, I don't know. I guess because I've kind of been excluded from the crowd of the fossils and the comic book memories. Those people really hate my guts, to be honest with you. And so I guess, it's just like different social cliques in a high school. If I was this rock and roll guy, and you got the people that are in the country music and the heavy metal music, you got the jocks and the stoners. If I was in high school and someone was in trouble that was in a different clique than me, maybe I would help them out, and that's great. But we're really not in the same clique. And
Yes.
that's kind of what I tried to do to help, because I don't want to see anybody out on the street. And she's a nice person. And the other people in her clique are nice people too. They just don't like me because I think because I said that the chat on the show they're on reminded me of the big room at a nursing home where everybody says hi to each other a lot over and over again. And I guess they thought he's saying we're old and we're nursing home victims, and that's not what I meant at all. And I apologized tearfully, and it wasn't accepted, and I'm not invited on there, and they don't like me, and I've heard them say they don't like me. So what am I going to do? Am I going to grovel and beg? Because I these are people I've liked for years and thought they were wonderful. And despite I don't know, I'm used to being hated all through junior high, high school. I was always the outcast. It's not anything new. But I thought I had found some friends, but have you seen me on their show? And when I've gone on a show where they're on, I've been made fun of, and they eat chips while I'm talking. So what can I do? But you can enjoy their show and enjoy this show, but clearly it's just like I don't know. I'm not as popular, clearly, because I've raised $230, not thousands. So, but anyway, that's the way it goes. You provided epic amounts of shows, entertainment from the old house to the new Grand Hotel. Just continue the show and fun drive, and don't sweat a few sub losses. It's normal. Onward. That's very well written, Library 88.
Yeah, that's
Great
nice.
thinking, Myers, says my wife, because I'm in enough pain. Had bad music hurts me. um, oh, my wife says well, yeah, she sang out a time or two. Yeah, it's okay. She's got her friends. They're not. It's like when I was in high school. I had friends that played Dungeons and Dragons, but I didn't hang out with them much because that was their world. They played Dungeons and Dragons, and I could talk to them at lunch about things that we had mutual interests in. But then they went off on weekends and played Dungeons and Dragons all night at somebody's house, and I couldn't relate to that. But I could relate to them on some things enough that I could eat lunch with them at the nerd table, or but I would say, well, that's someone that's likable enough, but it's not. I had good friends in junior high. Then they got into band. Band is like a cult, and in high school, it's like they only hang out with the band people. And it's
Yeah,
like, okay, you
band would
join
want to.
band, and so I'm never going to see you
They're
again.
usually the
It's like,
same people. The band people and the drama people, they coexist together, but they are completely insular. Yeah.
yeah, yeah. It's like joining the army. It's like, okay, I'll see you in a few years.
They even had
Bronco
jackets.
says,
They even had matching jackets. They all had those windbreakers, right? That would say marching band on the back of them. Remember that?
oh yeah, what happened in my high school is there were a few punk rockers, but there was this group that got into new wave music, and they all wore jackets that said, was it members only?
Yeah, sure. That was the
The
beginning
the
of
the
the.
the preppy kids and the football players were wearing Izod Lacoste shirts.
Yeah,
Did they have, what was that? It was a little bird. What was the symbol on the
it was an
chest?
alligator. It was a little
And
alligator.
Alec, oh, that I hated that. I made fun of that. But there before that in the 70s there were shirts that said hang 10 and they had two bare feet. But
Yeah,
Izod
those.
Lacoste became a big thing in the early 80s, and it was the preppy kids, the popular kids, the ones that were in student government. And then
Yes, the Key Club. The Key Club is what we had. The Key. Remember the
oh,
Key Club? The Key Club?
and all the varsity football players just all together decided they were going to get mohawks when they were seniors, and and then they all went to prom, and the girls were all horrified that their prom dates all had mohawks, and the pictures they had to take, and that was something. I'm trying to think about. But that group that had all they were some of my friends. Some of them kind of got into that new wave group. Greta says, "Thank you, thank you, the Library 88." Bronco says, "The Oh God, I don't want to get into that. No, they don't all. It's there's a couple that don't like me. I don't know if it's
They don't like me
hatred,
either.
dislike.
The same people that dislike Gratu also dislike me. I chose my friend group when I noticed I felt like Gratu was being treated in a certain way, and I made a decision where I wanted to be and who I wanted to hang out with because I feel like uh,
Well, I mean, it's just
that's it's like a
they
natural thing. It's just like what we're talking about, like high school. I was friends with all those different friends groups because I was an ex jock. I played school sports all the way up to ninth grade, and then I was a kid who hung out in the parking lot and sold weed. And so I was friends with the dork and also with the jocks. And so this made me a successful high school drug dealer, and I did well. Um, but I
should
crossed
you admit
all,
this?
and I made my choice who I wanted to hang out with of all those groups. And so
Yeah,
I wasn't, I've never been a person to follow anything or anyone, and I
yeah.
question authority, and I stand up for people that I feel like are being persecuted and treated badly. I've always felt that
What
way.
my wife says, because things got stupid. I mean, that's the real story, and you became the scapegoat. It's all dumb. Bronco
There
says
you go.
Grodd is the best. If I need to choose a side, I choose here. I'm not asking people to choose sides because I
No,
see people in the chat on those shows that are here. A lot of them aren't that used to be on my chat. Don't come to me anymore, or they watch. They might be 8 of the 12 people watching right now, but they don't comment. I got the prayers to you. They just watch to see, is he gonna blow up again and get angry or say something. Greta
Right.
said, my wife
Yeah, my
says no one
sister,
has
they
to
would be
pick
angry.
sides if they can say lame stuff. If they can say lame stuff to turn people on the grots, they should live their best life. LOL. Movie World says, greetings, everyone. And Bronco says, Grot Show is more my pace, just hanging out and chatting. I have no need to see a bunch of stuff. Yeah, I haven't showed a single comic book. I showed an old newspaper earlier. Moondust, yeah, that time at band practice. Oh, yeah, that from what was that movie, American Pie? Yeah, this one time at band camp. Yeah, that was how they talk. That was their whole life. But I mean, I guess that's fine.
I
Thanks,
crossed with those
guys.
people. Like I could tell you stories about those we used to call them. So at the beginning we called them band Fs. I'm not going to say the word, but it's a derogatory word towards
Mhm.
homosexuals, but we weren't saying
Oh.
they were homosexuals. We just say that they were band Fs because of how they were so clicky and they had the jackets. But then a buddy of mine did the special effects for the drama department, right? And and so then once we started doing the special effects for the drama department, they needed extras. So then I was an extra in that play called Don't Drink the Water. I got to be like a guard with a fake machine gun in the background. So then I met a girl there and I started liking this girl, started going to their parties and started hanging out with them. And some
Hmm.
of them were really cool and it was really fun. But they were completely straight. There was no beer at their parties. There was no marijuana. An interesting situation. So me and my friends were going just because there were girls and the girls liked us and we liked them. That was the whole
Okay,
situation.
that was a band party.
It was a band and drama. All those people were in play production and drama, as well as different facets of the band.
At
And
my
like you said,
school,
student government, key club, really straight, really good grades, a bunch of A students. Yeah.
the band and the drama classes had doors that opened to each other's classes, internal doors where they could open them up and be one big class. So they were very much together. The band, drama, and then the newspaper staff was right there. I joined the newspaper staff, but the band and drama were very close. And then the year after I graduated, one of the drama kids came in, and the band and drama were all hanging out in the room, no teacher in the room, and he said, "What is the meaning of life?" And they all laughed because the Monty Python movie, Monty Python and the Meaning of Life, had come out recently, and he pulled out a G and blew his brains out in front of all of them. And a lot of these people I still knew, even though I was on in college, and that messed them. They're probably all still messed up to this day. Yeah, that was a. And then this girl I was dating got a letter from the guy that did that. She was at college too, and was professing love to her, and that. So she was very messed up from that. Yeah, it was stuff that would have back then in the 80s, stuff that would be on CNN happened, and it was just local news. That would be national news today that happened. Anyway, my wife says, "Thanks, guys. I have a lot of tumors in my womb. I had a huge one removed, and they had to remove one of my ovaries too. And they took my gallbladder too because I was having gallbladder attacks. That was in 2018, but I'm falling apart again, and now it's my liver and again my womb. And I have these stupid hernias, and all the pains have been firing off at once for like almost a week. This is what I haven't been talking about it. I just been saying, hey guys, I need some money. And yes, people think, oh, that's funny. That guy, look at all the collectibles he has. Why don't you sell them? Fuck, I'm going to unsubscribe. And I've been, she's in so much pain. And I'm, it's just, I don't know. John Gorris, I choose my own side, figure I'm always right. I can't. Bronco says I can't imagine what you're going through, Greta. Yeah, so
It's
that's
very
why I've
easy to
been
donate.
delaying these shows. It's like, well, why didn't you have the live stream yesterday? Well, why didn't you? Then I said, why didn't you have the live stream the next day? Well, because like I you know,
It's really quick and
she's
easy. You can just click the link. If it's your very first time using GoFundMe, it goes really quick, and you can put $10 or $20, and it just happens very
I got to
fast.
get
Like
the link again. I don't know how to. Let me
yeah, go
find
ahead
it.
and put the link up, and you can also choose to donate anonymously. You don't have to put your name in there. I don't think anything shows up. You can't tell where it's from if you choose to do that. That's completely. It's all super easy. It's a couple clicks. It took me like 4 minutes to do it. The first time.
Hold on. Uh, um, what the
And
heck
there's
am I
all
doing?
options. It doesn't have to be PayPal. You can do Visa or MasterCard or I don't know what the all. It's got every
Uh,
option.
where am I? I don't even know what I'm doing. Oh, okay, here. Okay. I thought all this was. Let's see. Wait a second. Okay. Okay, I put the link there again.
Look at that.
What is
You remember this
that?
guy?
Let me
Remember him?
blow. Uh, well, no, I don't remember that.
Really? Okay, so this was a character from, I want to say, Spectacular Spider-Man in about 1978. Uh,
Okay.
it was during, his name is Razorback, and it was during the CB radio craze. And this guy was like a short-lived Spider-Man sidekick in like a 2 or 3 issue story arc. And as soon as, and I loved this character when I was a kid, when I read this story arc and everything, I was like, Razorback is so cool. He was one of those guys that at first Spider-Man thought he was a villain, but then he turned out to be a good guy. He's like a long haul trucker that wanted to be a superhero. And I found out that they had a figure of this guy, so I had to get it because it's such an obscure, interesting character, and it's such a
Well,
cool figure.
I was
Isn't it
reading
great?
Spider-Man in '78. Somehow my mind has completely forgotten that.
Yeah,
Do
Razorback.
well, I'll look and see what issues he's in.
Yeah, maybe somebody in the chat could. Maybe somebody in the chat has fond memories of Razorback like I do and remembers this story arc. I want to say like
Well,
it would have been 8th grade, so it's like 1978.
all
Spectacular
you'd have to
Spider-Man.
do is that's about the time the TV show was on the air. All you'd have to do is just Google Marvel Razorback and it would give you his first
Mhm.
appearance.
Yeah,
But
you're right. You're right.
my
Anyway,
wife
cool
says when
figure.
I had a oh yeah, it's neat. When I had a
I
bad
got
month
this guy
because of
too, the Human Fly, because of the same, for the same reason. Because I was like, whoa, that's from that Spider-Man annual that I bought off the stands in about 7th grade that I loved so much.
I
So I had to
remember
get this
him.
figure.
I remember
Yeah.
him. My wife says when I had a bad month because of my endometriosis, I usually can handle it with ibuprofen, but there are odd months when it builds up and nothing can stop the pain. And we've been worried about the deductible and things happening around the house and that pressure, financial pressure combined with all the pain issues. That's why I started the GoFundMe. And GoFundMe says you should try to ask for 7,000 or more. It's like, well, that seems like a lot. I made it less than that, but I that's GoFundMe tries to encourage you to make it a bigger amount. So if you think I'm being, oh, look at that's pretty good. That's pretty
I
cool.
know. This Gray Hulk is
Alan
pretty good.
Keyes fan. Never heard of Razorback, but I'll definitely need to read that story at some point. You know what it
Yeah,
reminds me most of is that guy on January 6th that went into the Capitol,
yeah,
the
you're right.
the
The
shaman.
shaman.
John Gorris says, Meyer, what's that person behind you in the B and W? Black and white, looks familiar.
It's a painting that I did of silent film star Louise Brooks from the movie Pandora's
Yeah,
Box.
yeah.
And what I did with that was that I was watching the movie on VHS, and there's this scene where there's this long shot of her, and I froze the, this is before I had a cell phone. I froze the VHS on my TV, and I just drew this with like one of those, it's like a grease pencil, like the black one that with the paper that unravels around the tip. And this is just was a blank piece of foam core that's really big, like it's probably 4x3 or 5x4, I don't know. And so I just got right up in front of the TV and froze it, and I just looked at her face really close and made it really big. And then I looked at it for a couple days, and then because I had a full brand new bottle of white acrylic and a full brand new bottle of black acrylic, and I had never done a painting that was just black and white ever, it came to me at that moment. I was like, wait a minute, I need to paint this instead of, because at first I was thinking I'm going to do charcoal and fill it all in. I was thinking that I'm going to use like pencil or like one of those thick markers or something. And instead it just came to me just to do acrylic. And I just did it really fast and just kind of freestyled it. It's not like meant, I guess it doesn't really look exact. It's kind of cartoonish, but that's what it is.
Yeah, it's great.
And for a long time, I didn't have it. For a long time, it was for like 3 or 4 years, it was in the lobby of a friend of mine's dance studio. And he liked it so much. He's like, can we put this up in the lobby and, at the studio? And I was like, yeah, put it up in the studio. And he's like, you want to sell it? And I was like, I don't know, sure. And what should he said? I'll put $2,000 on it. So it was in
Ooh,
this studio with $2,200 price tag for like 4 years. And at the end, I took it back a few years ago.
yeah.
Nobody bought
Well, yeah, I've never done a painting in just black and white either. Now that I think about it, um, but yeah, I was never a part of any group. Junior high, there was like one or two people I hung out with that had mutual interests, and then I had glasses. At some point, I got contact lens. It seems like that was about the time Raiders of the Lost Ark came out, and then without the glasses, some people kind of forgot that I was the person with glasses, and I almost became cool to some people, and but not quite. And I'd always been interested in certain things, certain types of music, and then all of a sudden, the music that I'd listened to since American Graffiti came out, all of a sudden the Stray Cats are on MTV, and it's like all these girls in the band and the newspaper staff are into rockabilly music for 5 minutes, and I was already into that, and it's like, oh, he might be someone cool. He's got a black leather jacket and stuff.
Do you remember when you first? So I first heard Devo and the Go-Go's in 8th grade from a friend of mine that had their first, or the first albums, and my mind was blown. I was like, "What is this beat? What is this music that
Yeah,
it encapsulates everything?" It's like rockabilly. It is pop, that bubblegum pop, and kind of the Beatles or something. What is going on? It's like a mixture of everything together. And
yeah.
my mind was completely changed. I was like, well, I'm new wave punk, the whole everything, whatever. My mind was open when I first heard the Go-Go's. Remember when you first heard My Lips Are Sealed? How great that was.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. That was amazing. It was just like it was right out of the '60s, but it was something new, and
Yeah,
it was really, yeah. That was, and it wasn't really that all of a sudden you think.
B-52s too.
Yeah, I think it was just a weird accident that all this music became popular that probably never would have been popular because MTV started right about the time everybody was getting cable TV. And a lot of the big bands was like, videos. Why would I do a video? And the only videos they had were from these kind of underground bands or bands that were popular in England that never would have made it here ever. There's always, you look at the popular charts in England in the 60s and 50s and 70s, and there were some things that correspond with us. And then there are bands that you've never, or singers you've never heard that were big there. And it's almost like these alternate Earth stories, where it's like, okay, you've got the Justice League, and then this world you've got the Justice Society, and they're kind of alike. There's both have Superman and both have Batman, but they're a little different. It's kind of like England and United States pop charts. It's But when MTV came along, all of a sudden there was less difference. It was like all these bands, that would have never made it, like Madness, and not that they're bad, it's just they never would have made it in the American charts. What was that Australian band, the Land Down Under? I can't think of the
Men at
name
Work.
right.
Men at
Men at
Work.
Work. I mean, all of that stuff, Spandau Ballet, and all of this stuff that it was like all of a sudden. Uh, the
I remember
flock of
watching Fred.
seagulls that never would have made it in the United States, but it became popular and it was played on the radio because MTV was playing it. And I don't know if the Go-Go's would have made it in
Well,
1970s
not just
without.
MTV. Remember Friday Night Videos? Friday Night Videos held a lot of weight because you didn't have to have cable TV, and they were like it was a weekly show that was showing all the kids all the stuff that was on MTV that was most popular. I loved Friday Night
Yeah,
Videos.
yeah. I think I was aware that it existed, but I didn't watch it because I had MTV. I could
Mhm.
kind of tell, okay, that's for the people that don't have it.
Yeah, I had both,
the,
but I still watch Friday Night Videos too.
yeah, I was more of a, I remember Night Flight. It was very repetitive, but every so often they'd show
Like,
something amazing where you just had to be recording it because you never could tell when all of a sudden they'd show something you'd never seen before.
yeah. Late
Um,
night TV was really fun in late 70s, early 80s. Late night TV and early cable TV was so fun. It was so fun to come home after a night of driving around with your friends in cars at like 2:30, 3 o'clock in the morning. Remember that? Maybe eat a
yeah,
frozen burrito, maybe almost throw up, and then sit down with the controller. And there was so much crazy stuff you could find. It was great.
yeah, the cars were great too. Although I always heard they were terrible live. Everyone said, they were so boring live because I think they just stood there and performed like they would in the studio, and they weren't entertaining for the crowd. They didn't jump
Oh, no,
around
I've
like.
seen videos. I've seen videos of them live. They're good. They were good. When I
Well, I
saw
just
them, the videos of them live, I thought that Rick Ocasek was the front man. He's not.
really
Rick Ocasek's not the front man. He's not the lead singer. He kind of just comes in. Yeah.
what? He's not the
Yeah.
lead
Watch the
singer.
video. No. The voice that you know in the early Cars is not Rick Ocasek. It's a different guy. It's a guy who passed away young. I can't remember his name. Somebody in the chat,
The,
do the research or know
the
that,
early
please.
cars or the cars hits that we know now.
Yeah, it's a different guy's voice. It's not that's Rick Ocasek is there on the stage and they're singing together, but this other guy is more the lead singer. From the videos
Oh,
I saw,
okay.
I've seen two live performances recently of the car.
Dr. Five says, hello, everyone. We just got back from out of town and we had no internet at the cabin. Wonderful.
If
It's
anybody
wonderful
knows,
you did. Oh, it's wonderful you didn't have internet. How long
yeah,
were
he
you at the
mentioned.
cabin? This
I
last
forgot to
week is.
mention. Yeah,
I'm sorry. Go
he
ahead.
messaged me earlier, and I totally forgot to mention that he had. I was going to say, if anybody knows the answer to that question about the Cars, it would probably be Martin. He might know what I'm talking about
Oh
as far
yeah,
as
yeah.
who the original lead singer and the front man of the Cars was.
Um,
Headbangers Ball good too.
I remember
Liquid
120
TV.
minutes. I remember
Liquid
120
TV
minutes
was
had
good.
like a guy that looked kind of like a vampire, a British guy with spiky hair. Um, well, 120 minutes was like you'd have to sit through a lot of stuff. I'd have to sit through a lot of stuff I didn't like to see something that I liked. And then they play a Cramps video that I'd never seen, and that would be how or they. I don't know. I was very picky about my music. Dr. Five's back from the real world, nature, no net. You lucky man. Yeah, this last week would have been a lot of stuff happened this last week. I don't know how long you were gone. Benjamin Orr was the guy, but also Rick sang also. Okay.
Yes. Like I saw
I
them
think,
do that. Let the good times roll. That one, right? It was
yeah.
it was them together, but Benjamin Orr was the voice that I recognized. I was like, wait, I always thought that was Rick Ocasek singing that, but it's them together and the other guy just as much as him,
Well, the
or more.
voice looks like it would be coming out of Rick Ocasek because he's such an odd looking guy and it's such an odd voice. You'd think it would. Yeah, I don't know, man. I don't know.
Benjamin Orr.
It's it's
Thank you, Mark.
Benjamin Orr, yeah. So anyway, in high school, I would, yeah, I guess I wound up with a crowd of. They were kind of people that worked at the local comic store, and they weren't that cool, but there were some heavy metal guys that started to become my friend in high school that had kind of looked down on me in junior high. And we had an art class together, and I remember one of them, Casey Orr. We realized we have an mutual interest in the Conan the Barbarian comics, and the movie was about to come out, and he found out I, like the heavy metal movie, and and at that time he was just going around everywhere in the school and writing Motorhead, and no one knew what it meant because no one had heard of that band. The first time I saw them perform was on the Young Ones, but and I'd heard Dan Aykroyd calls someone a motorhead in Blues Brothers, and apparently that means someone from Detroit. But I just like he was like so into Motorhead before anyone had heard of them, and he was just their main advertising agent in Arlington, Texas, writing it everywhere. Motorhead, every desk he sat in. But he later went on to be in Guar, and well, he's in a band called Rigor Mortis, which I think is somewhat big. They've got a documentary out about them. Uh, and then some of their mutual, and then there was another guy, Marty Griffin. Is that? I went to. This is made by Marty Griffin. He was. I don't know what happened to him. I'm not even sure if he's still alive. He made this sculpture. Um, but I got this. Let me blow myself up. I got this sculpture at an estate sale, and it's a weird story. I went to an estate sale, which is it's weird. Do they have estate sales in San Francisco?
Yes.
Because where I'm at now, I was just at an antique store and talking to the lady that runs it, and she's never been to an estate sale. Occasion I've been to one since I've been here. They here it's more auctions. Estate sale, I had to
Estate
kind of
sales is
explain the
like Basil's
concept,
thing.
huh?
Basil Orloff is a estate sale guy, if I remember correctly.
Oh, I don't know that he does estate sales.
No, he goes to them. He goes to them,
Yeah,
and
oh yeah, in California. Well, here in the Midwest, it's not a thing. It's more of a they do auctions, and yeah, I remember estate sales at first seemed really creepy. That you're going into someone's house and basically going through all of their belongings. It's pretty much everything's laid out, pretty much where it was. But you get over that, and then you realize, oh, I'm rescuing cool stuff. But anyway, what was my? I'm trying to follow my train of thought. I went to an estate sale, and it turned out it was for the father of a friend of mine in high school. And this friend of mine had been in that art class. His name was Aaron Sims. And if you look up Aaron Sims on the internet, he's a major production designer in Hollywood now. He does the paintings before a movie's made. He does the paintings visualizing what the movie's going to look like so they can say, oh, okay, this looks great. Like George Lucas never would have gotten Star Wars made if he didn't have those Ralph McQuarrie paintings that show what this movie will look like to the studio people. Well, he does that. He visualizes everything, and he's a great artist. We had a commercial art class together, and we had to design a movie poster. And he did a movie poster for Superman 2, with the Kryptonian villains flying towards Superman, and he used airbrush. He did some painting with a dragon. He was really good. He was a really good artist. But in Hollywood, if you look at his, I hate to say this, almost everything he's done in Hollywood, it's kind of an ugly visual style to me. Um, I hate to say this about him. It's like he designed the Green Lantern movie, which I thought it was an ugly look, the way the Green Lantern suit looked. It not being cloth, it was glowing. I just thought it looked he painted that. He visualized that. Um, he visualized the second Hulk movie, not the one where he would grow to 50 feet and it was all about his childhood trauma. The first one, part of the Marvel cinematic, there was Iron Man, and then I think the second one was the Hulk, right? That had
yes,
yeah, and where they talk about the super soldier formula, and you realize, oh, this is in the Avengers universe and everything, and then you see Tony Stark in it, and you realize that was everyone forgot about that movie. They had a different guy playing the Hulk, not this current liberal idiot that's playing the Hulk. Um, but I like that movie. Most people hate it, but he did the paintings for that. But he's not really visualizing anything. He's just he's painting what Kirby did. I mean, he's not creating the Hulk. But he's done movies. I just don't like his look. But anyway, it was his father's estate sale, clearly, because I saw a lot of Aaron's stuff that I remember. In fact, I got a little sculpture, little figure of Yoda that he made a stop motion animated Super 8 film right after Empire Strikes Back came out with this little Yoda. And I had another figure, I think it's over here, that I got of his that he had done. As I had seen the stop motion Super 8 film, and I recognized these figures from it. Um, and so, yeah, here it is. This is this is one of the figures he made that he animated in that Super 8 film. Let me give myself full screen. Um, how do I do? I'm on. Hold on, hold on. And and then that sculpture over there by his friend Marty Griffin, he must have given that to him, and then also I got it from. Let me. It's kind of got some dust on it, but this was created by that. How do I how do I get light on him? Okay, hold on.
Very nice. What is it's
I,
what
I I
is
think it's some original creation, but
it's great.
so
So you
this is
went to
from
this.
probably about 1980.
So you
Um,
got stuff that was made by him that was at an estate sale that was his parents' house. Is that
yeah,
what
I'd
happened?
never gone to his house, but there was a crowd of people. It was him. He was part of that new wave crowd that wore the members only jackets. They all wore identical jackets. There was another guy that was kind of the leader that had dyed blonde hair, and he's in Hollywood now too. And there was another guy named Greg Ponchatz, and his father. He was someone that was I don't know, talking about real people. He was one of the group, and his father was a major painter, Don Ponchatz, that did science fiction paperback covers and did
Huh.
art for Hugh Hefner and Playboy. He's like, you look him up. He's never someone I really liked his style, but a lot of these kids hung out at his house and met Don Ponchatz. See, I never was really part of that new wave crowd. I mean, I associated with them and liked them, but I never visited Don Ponchatz's house. But it was all a little circle of friends that all eventually made something of themselves in Hollywood or became painters or whatever. They were gifted crowd, and it was that crowd. Some of the members of that crowd that were horribly scarred by that kid in that classroom doing that thing that you can't mention on YouTube that I mentioned earlier with the meaning of life thing, the S word. So yeah, it was weird finding artifacts and the Yoda. I wish I had. There is this other teacher that was into Star Wars, and I gave her this Yoda figure, and I said, "This is made by a important person in Hollywood." I think she contacted him and said, "Hey, I have your childhood Yoda," and he thought that was cool. I mean, I'm friends with him on Facebook, but he's just and I've got. Oh, you know what? The first time that figure there. Oh man, I forgot about this. The first time I saw his name in the credits of a real Hollywood movie was when saw Evil Dead 2. And yeah, he actually worked on Evil Dead 2, which was a phenomenal
Wow.
movie. You can
It was
see
so good when it first came
yeah,
out.
in fact, yeah, why don't I just read to you his he did I think he did background paintings for Evil Dead 2, like matte paintings maybe. Um
When
Um,
that movie first came out, I was at Fort Bragg, and my downstairs neighbor happened to also be a guy that was in the exact same platoon as me, and we were friends. And my wife was his wife's friend and everything. But one night they come home from the movies, and I happen to be out on my patio, and it's like 10 o'clock, 10:30 at night, and he's all, Dave, I got to tell you about the movie that we just watched. And he like did that thing where he spent like 25 minutes retelling the entire movie, and he was super excited about the camera work through the forest, how the camera was moving. Remember how it was that stuff that was going on and everything. And I was like, oh my God, I got to see this movie. So Chris and I, me and my wife went and saw it the next day, and it just stuck in my head. Now I'll always remember Victor being so excited telling me about how good this movie was. It was
yeah.
amazing.
Well, I tell you, yeah, because that movie was like nothing else. I remember when the first Evil Dead movie came out. Um, I'm kind of reading the comments here. Dr. Five says, sad to hear that Greta is feeling bad. Prayers for you, Greta. John Gordon says, I love that cave painting Gratu did shown the other day with the Planet of the Apes back to Earth illusion. Very striking.
What was that?
What? I don't know. With the Planet of the Apes
One of your
back to
kid
Earth
drawings,
illusion.
maybe? Was it one of your
Huh?
kid drawings? Was it one of your childhood drawings, maybe?
Oh, I don't know. Be more, help us with that, John. I'm not sure. John Goris, Library 88. I didn't see that. Can we get another Gratu art peek? I don't know what that was. John, help us. Thank you, Dr. Five, says my wife. Indeed, nonstop prayers from healing and pain reliever, says Library 88. Thank
Thank
you. I have to go to a blasted high school graduation party, but I'll be back. A busy Saturday. High school graduate. Oh, okay. It's the end. It's the middle of the summer, but I guess you could still have one. Have fun, and later fives have fun. I love the Evil Dead series. Well, the first one came out. It was from you. Your junior high years was an assignment, if I recall. Ooh, I probably yeah. I have a lot of that must have been an old video, John. I've shown a lot of junior high school art. I'm sure I might have done a Planet of the Apes one. It's all here somewhere. I'll show it again, but I don't know where it is. But I remember when Evil Dead came out, it was Stephen King was still someone that you respected back then before he turned into this idiot. And he said, this is one of the most amazing, terrifying films I've ever seen. And it was just a real small film, and they released it, and I think they released it unrated, and you thought you were going to see one of the most horrifying things ever. Stephen King was like talking about it, gave me nightmares. And so I went to see it at the Lowe's Theater, and it was really great. But Evil Dead 2 was like that, but with humor added to it, and it was just a real insane experience. And but here, let me
You know
turn myself.
that same friend of mine that I told you about that loved Evil Dead so much after seeing it, he loved that band, The Germs. He loved another
Uh,
band, I think it was called F. So he was this kid who was same age as us, edgy punk rocker kid that had grown up in Florida. So his punk rock taste, he had all these bands that he had grown up listening to that I knew nothing about, because even in the late 70s, there was an East Coast and a West Coast punk, like you know about that. So I
yeah.
had never heard the Germs before. I had never heard F and or Fear. Others, I mean, he listened to stuff I hadn't heard before.
Yeah. Well, let's see. I'm sideways because can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay, so Aaron Sims looks a lot better now than he did back in high school. In high school, what he reminded me of was the chopper pilot in the Road Warrior, this skinny guy with weird hair. But now
Yes.
he looks kind of like a movie star now. But it says he's one of the most innovative and versatile concept artists working in films today. To industry insiders, hold on, To industry insiders, he is revered for his multifaceted approach to creature development and design. To audiences, he's the genius behind many of today's most memorable movie monsters. Sim's youth in Arlington, Texas was filled with animation, including that figure I just showed you. That was and highly detailed pencil renderings of nature that his father produced professionally, motivating Sims to follow his interest in art and animation. And I think his father was friends with Don Ponchatz, that other that painter. As a teenager, he began working for As a teenager, he began working for the renowned illustrator Don Ivan Ponchatz. In the mid '80s, Sims moved to Los Angeles to begin his career as a special effects makeup artist for the film industry. His work quickly attracted the attention of legendary Academy Award winner Rick Baker, with whom Sims collaborated for the next 12 years. That's pretty impressive. During that time, Sims served as a leading special effects artist on some of the most popular defining movies of the 1990s: Gremlins 2, Batman Forever, Mighty Joe
Wow.
Young, Nutty Professor, How the Grinch Stole Christmas, and Men in Black. I did not like how the makeup in The Grinch Stole Christmas. A pivotal event in defining Sim's future occurred when Baker introduced him to a new digital imaging program called Adobe Photoshop. Sims embraced computer technology with enthusiasm and began to combine soft image, 3D, and blah, 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 blah. In the late 1990s, Sims started working for another Academy Award winner, Stan Winston, who encouraged Sims' pioneering methods. Yeah, I could see this guy had a lot of talent in this high school class, and he went on to work with Rick Baker and Stan Winston. Sims
All
introduced
the
his
biggest
visionary
names.
design process to Steven Spielberg. Oh, I didn't know. And became the lead character designer for artificial intelligence, AI. Sims created unprecedented designs for all of Spielberg's robot characters, and in doing so, validated his groundbreaking approach to blah, 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 blah. Okay, so Sims co founded Stan Winston Digital and led the studio as art director, as head concept artist on films such as Constantine. Never saw it. Fantastic Four was terrible. Sky Captain and the World of Tomorrow. Oh yeah, I like that, and I can see his art style in that. Actually, that whole movie looked like it was painted by him. Eight Below, don't know that. Terminator 3. I think Terminator 3 was actually fun, if I'm not mistaken. It wasn't really good, but it was fun. Or maybe I'm thinking of Terminator 4. Terminator 2 was the uh, unbelievable one. Terminator was great. Terminator 2 was like over the top, and then there was one that felt a little bootleg, but Schwarzenegger was in it. I don't know if that was 3 or 4. Spielberg's War of the Worlds and Tim Burton's Big Fish. I don't know if I saw Big Fish. Um okay, he was worked on 30 Days of Night. I didn't see that. The Golden Compass, I Am Legend. I didn't like that. And that I'll blame on him because those mutants I thought looked terrible. The Day the Earth Stood Still, I didn't see that, but I didn't look good from what I've seen of it. Chronicles of Narnia, Prince Caspian, The Incredible Hulk, and The Mummy, Tomb of the Dragon Emperor. In 2007, he co founded White Rock Lake Productions with business partner and longtime friend John Norris, while also opening his own fully capable design studio, the Aaron Sims Company. John Norris was the guy that headed up that new wave group that had this old 50s car convertible. They all drove around. So they'd known each other since junior high school. Yeah, a lot of the movies he worked on, he doesn't mention Green Lantern. Let's see. Stranger Things, Planet of the Apes trilogy, Wonder Woman. He worked on Wonder Woman. Yeah, I don't know. If you look at his webpage, it shows his art. That's weird that if he worked on Stranger Things, because um his memories of the 80s would be my memories of the 80s because he went to the same school and was a friend. So when he works on Stranger Things, creating the world of the 80s or whatever, it's that's kind of a weird thought, but oh well. What are people saying here in the chat? Okay. Evil Dead 2, says Library 88, is a stone cold classic like nothing before it. P.S. and Army of Darkness. Wait, what's P.S.?
Postscript.
Yes. Huh?
Postscript.
I know, but I don't think that's what he means, is it?
I don't know.
Yeah. P.S. an Army of Darkness with Sam Raimi's comic book style was groundbreaking.
I think that he means
P.S.
like postscript, and he's right. It was groundbreaking, and it was a lot of fun.
Postscript. Oh,
And
P.S.
he's
Like,
adding
oh,
to
I'm
the
adding
previous
to my
comment.
previous comment. Okay,
Yeah.
I'm sorry. I thought there was a movie called P.S. like AI. John Gora says, I heard that King quote was actually B.S. Someone asked him what he thought of the movie, which he hadn't seen, and said, I heard it's, the rest. Well, it worked. Yeah, that's probably true, because now I know Stephen King doesn't have his. I don't have the same respect I used to have for him. I've lost respect for a lot of people, Robert De Niro, all those people. Greta Orloff, my wife, says, I love the
Yeah.
germs too. Germs are great, says Library 88. John Goris, T3 was amusing. That must have been, was that the one where it's like Schwarzenegger's carrying a coffin or something, or comes out of a coffin? I don't, it, yeah, it was fun. It was amusing. Big Fish is nice. So I don't really remember it, but anyway. Yeah, I don't know. It's yeah, so I knew some people that had a lot of talent, but they were very talented, kind of like the people that your brother hung out with, except they were in a regular public school. But they all just seemed to cluster together, these people that later went on to make it in Hollywood. And then a couple of years before them, my friend Tom Ranoni, same high school, but he didn't know them and he wouldn't have liked them. I guarantee you he wouldn't have liked them at all. He would have thought they were idiots. That's what he called people that he didn't like.
My
Because
brother
he's
went on to be successful
yeah.
involved in everything we're talking about in music and in art.
I know, it's just like I was just saying here, they managed to make it out of a public school. But my friend Tom, he made it in Hollywood too, and he he made student films in college, and then
Yeah.
we saw Reanimator, and that was another movie that blew our minds, like Evil Dead 2. Reanimator and Evil Dead 2 were just like mind-blowingly different. Um, it's like I remember watching Reanimator, and it's like my first thought was, how did they steal the theme to Psycho and get away with it? And then the movie starts, and it was like I completely forgot that they stole the theme. It still was cool, but it's like, man, that's pretty close, the theme. But I couldn't believe the movie. And then, so what Tom did is he just went to the school newspaper and said, I think he just called up Stuart Gordon and Brian Usna and started talking to them. Yeah, and he said, I'd like to interview for the school newspaper. And then he went to the school newspaper and said, I've got an interview with these two filmmakers that made Reanimator. Would you like to publish it in the Shorthorn and newspaper? And they said, yeah. So he used these fake newspaper credentials to interview them, and they hit it off because they had mutual interest in everything from EC Comics to everything. Tom was an expert in all the cool movies, and so they flew him out to Hollywood, and he started working with them, and he was I think he started working on that movie Society, I think it was, or From Beyond, and then he
Yeah, sure. I
became
remember the movie. Is
I
that
think
Cronenberg? Who did Society?
I thought Society was the Reanimator guys, wasn't it?
That would have been their first one. Is that what it was? It was about
No,
the
there was Reanimator. Was people in the chat? Was Society? Oh, I think Society
Society
was
was
the
the
one.
one about the rich people that were
Yeah,
cannibals or something, right?
and
Yeah.
yeah, and there's like a scene where they're all melting together in some orgiastic scene, and Tom and his
And
girlfriend are in that scene.
it's like Agora Hills or something. That the implications are that it is a wealthy suburb of Los Angeles. That these people,
Yeah,
right?
they made that, and then I think they went back and did it. I think that was the next one, and then they made From Beyond, which was another Lovecraft movie. And I think I'm not sure my friend, or maybe they made From Beyond and then Society. I don't know. At some point, he started working on it. I know he worked on Society with him, and by the time they made Bride of Reanimator, which I didn't think was very good, but my friend Tom was the head makeup. Uh, he was the makeup coordinator, which he wasn't sculpting. He wasn't doing any of it. He was just the supervisor, probably saying, that looks cool, or we need to do it this way, or we need to. He was the guy that he wasn't a hands-on guy.
He was a creative,
He was creative, but he wasn't actually doing it.
right?
And he worked
Supervisor,
for
creative
years with.
supervisor,
He
creative
worked with the
supervisor.
guy. What is the guy that? Man, the guy he worked with, I remember, because he came back from Hollywood. He didn't talk with me for 20 years when he was in Hollywood, hardly ever. And then he came back and everything was fine. Um, he worked with a guy that did Walking Dead and is now doing Creep Show. He's like the main. He's like one of the big guys. Like Rick Baker and Stan Winston were big guys back then. He's the big guy now.
Greg Nicotero.
That's it. That was his buddy that he worked with out there. Um, but then Tom had some problems and had to come back here, and um, things that happened in Hollywood started to get to him. But he worked on a lot of things. He worked on the Wishmaster movies, which I never saw. I've got them on disc, but I haven't watched them. He says they're really good. He was also the Return of the Living Dead was a great movie. Return of the Living Dead Part 2 was terrible. But then he worked on Return of the Living Dead Part 3. And I remember seeing Return of the Living Dead with him at the theater when we were in college. But Part 3 was a low budget movie that had, uh, oh, my mind's not working. Not Martin Milner, but the other guy in Adam 12, the younger guy.
Kent McCord.
Yeah, Kent McCord was
Kent
in it
McCord.
as like a colonel, because he was older then. And but even though it was a low budget movie, he managed to get some great effects out of that. And there were great effects in Bride of Reanimator, the heads flying around with wings and stuff. I can't remember, but it just wasn't as good as Reanimator. But that wasn't his fault. His effects were good. But this Return of the Living Dead Part 3 is about this guy bringing his girlfriend back, and she's like this punk rocker, and I think she's got little pieces of glass that she puts into her face to try to make her still have feelings or something. I don't know. She's a zombie girl, and it's funny. It's really funny. The disc of Return of the Living Dead Part 3, which is not a great movie, has commentary with Tom and that girl, the actress that played that zombie girl, and
Oh, cool.
um, some of these
Oh, that's
movies
great.
that's the thing that I hate about everyone's streaming movies now is DVDs had all these commentary tracks that were great. And it's
Yeah.
like people don't need some. I forget who said this. It might have been Quentin Tarantino or someone like that. Is you don't need to go to film school. You just get DVDs and listen to the commentaries. And it's like you're sitting there with the filmmaker, with the director, with the stars of the movie, and they're talking about the movie throughout the whole thing, talking about each shot. And it's
Yes,
it's better
100%.
than any film
My
school
kids used to
education.
do. Yeah, it was one of the most like self-educating things that I saw my youngest son do when that movie Troy came out. Remember that movie Troy, which was a really good movie with Brad Pitt as Achilles, right? Remember that? So at the
Yeah.
height of that film was it was like one of the first DVDs, or it was a DVD at the time. So it was one of the first like special DVDs that Dylan bought because he loved the movie so much. So he watched that movie over and over again in his room when he was probably 7th or 8th grade. I don't know. And I would walk in there and he's watching the movie with commentary tracked on, and he's completely paying attention to everything. And then he was doing it with Gladiator too. And it made me so proud that he had such interest. And I was like, wow, he's learning stuff from this commentary that he would never learn in school here in San Francisco.
Yeah, it looks like Cleo needs me to go upstairs, but I just saw the comment. I wasn't looking at the commentary, but anyway, on that Return of the
She said
Living
she's
Dead,
feeling weak.
he's
I think I
drinking
need to
while
interrupt
he's
you.
doing the commentary, and he's getting more and more drunk. And there's several movies where the people drink while they're doing the commentaries. I think the guys
Yeah.
that do I forget the guys that do South Park, they've done that before, I think. But anyway, he's like hitting on this girl during the commentary track. It's unbelievable. But anyway, I gotta cut the stream because my wife's not feeling well. But I'll
All
talk
right.
to you
Thanks,
guys
guys.
soon.
Thanks for watching.
Take
I'll talk to you
care,
later.
everybody. Bye.